Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, live in studio. Christian Skelton at the controls. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Cory, glad to have you in. Thanks for joining us, even on your staycation here.
You know, I'm thrilled to be here, Jake.
We are thrilled to have you.
Yeah. I haven't reached that point with 102.5 where they pay me to not show up yet. So,
me neither.
You know, I know this is your job, and in 3 hours is a grind. But come on, we're not digging ditches here.
No, we are not. We are not.
So
it's much easier when you're in with us, Cory. So we're glad to have you with
I
us.
talk a lot. I talk a lot. Like sometimes on our half-hour show on WKRN Plus Sports Extra Daily, 6:30 to 7.
There you go.
Monday through Sunday.
Tune in.
We might only cover like 3 topics because I just talk for like 10 minutes straight on each of them.
Well,
I just don't shut up.
We need you here. The last 2 days, it's just been me and Christian. We feel like I'm worn out by the end of a 3-hour show at that point. So we're gonna lean on you today.
Well, you're in trouble. I got nothing.
Sadly, no Parker or Connor, whatever you want to call him today. No Parker today.
Was he at the Cubs game yesterday?
He was at Cubs Tigers last night,
which 6 in the first.
Yeah. Framber Valdez has not been a very strong signing this offseason.
Yeah.
Did not even get through the first. I told Joe Rexroad as we were crossing over, I said, I'm done with the Tigers. They need to just sell it off at the deadline.
They're dead to you.
For this season, at least, sell off Skubal, sell off Mize, sell off Torres. Get as much as you can because this team. I mean, they're 8 games or 9 games below 500.
Well, it's too late. I said last week I was all about getting Skubal, and I'm still there for the Cubs.
Make your best offer.
Go get him. I mean, they're not going to win the division, the Cubs, because the Brewers are insane. But we've seen the Brewers do this before, and they never managed to do it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You just got to get to the dance. And, you know, if you've got a picture of that quality, and I don't think the Cubs have a pitcher of that quality right now because so many of their pitchers are hurt. I think, you know, it gives them more of a chance. I think defensively and offensively, they can compete with most teams.
No, having a guy like that's going to give you 2 starts in a 7-game series, it's going to give you an opportunity. So I think there's going to be a lot of teams who are interested in the Skubal sweep.
I don't think they'll do it, by the way.
The Cubs?
Yeah, no, I don't think ownership wants to spend that kind of money.
Well, the money's not that bad. You wouldn't have to give him an extension. It would be a rental.
How many?
This is it. He's a free agent after this.
Okay, well, yeah, but if you're going to trade assets, it depends on what they want in return. Like if you've got to give up major assets, like in minor league stars, you're going to want them to an extension.
Well, right. Like I think you'd consider it, but I think you have to know that with Scott Boras, he's probably just going to end up going to the highest bidder. Whether that's the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Red Sox or whoever it is.
You know that you're scaring me off of this deal already. I would offer some mid prospects to rent him, but I'm not giving you elite prospects to rent him.
It probably wouldn't cost you a ton. The Cubs' best prospect is the 63rd ranked prospect in baseball. He'd probably have to be included in the deal. I think you'd have to give up.
What position does he play?
Shortstop. Jefferson Rojas.
Yeah, they probably ready to move on from Dansby.
I think you need to. It's going to be probably a top 100 prospect, another pretty high level, close to making the majors prospect, and then a lottery ticket, some 19-year-old that you signed in the international free agency in the last couple of years or something like that. I think that's probably what the deal's going to look like. But you never know. There's going to be a lot of teams involved. I saw the Rays are going to get involved. I wouldn't be surprised if the Brewers got involved.
The
Dodgers, of course, are going to talk about
because they need a 7th starter.
Yes, they do. They need any good player out there. The Los Angeles Dodgers need them.
Yep. We'll give him a contract through 2090.
Yes. Right before the CBA expires, and then it can be grandfathered in. He'll be getting paid until he's on his deathbed. I did want to bring this up to you, Cory. Did you see the Netflix Untold? Have you seen those documentaries? They did like the Swamp Kings Florida Gators, the Urban Meyer years. They did Johnny Manziel documentary. They've done a ton on Netflix over the past few years.
I have seen them there. I have not watched them.
Well, there's a Vince Young one that's coming out in August, which I think Titans fans might be excited to see. It's going to go through his time at Texas, but also why things didn't work out in the NFL. So I think that obviously you were here covering the team when that was going on. So I think that could be relatively interesting for Titans fans.
I wonder how big of a part of that program TGI Fridays will be.
Have the guy sit down. It's like, I'm the manager at TGI Fridays.
And I just sent my kids through college from Vince Young. I mean, he spent like $5,000 like every week there, from what I heard.
At TGI Fridays.
Yeah, you didn't hear about this?
I have not heard this part of the story.
It was like his favorite place to go.
That's so funny.
And like he would just spend a ton of money there.
I like Fridays. I mean, it's
sure, but
yeah, not $5,000 a week.
Well, I mean, and look, I'm not saying that's
right.
factual.
No, I know. Yeah. Just a guess.
Look, I know everybody thinks the Titans are ruined Vince Young. All right. There's 31 other teams.
Yeah.
All right. The fact was he didn't work hard enough. That's the fact. All right. He was immensely talented. I don't blame them for drafting him at all.
No.
Even though it was Bud's call, I can tell you the whole draft meeting process. I've heard this one.
Right.
But, you saw the talent his rookie year.
Yeah.
But, the story that I always know that I heard firsthand that's unbelievable was the first time he was getting ready to play Pittsburgh. And, Pittsburgh's Dick LeBeau. And the team is like, hey, you need to put in some extra time this week. And first one out of the building. First one out. And the thing I'll never forget then in that game was him getting picked up by James Harrison and dropped on his head.
I do remember that.
And David Stewart was a part of that offensive line. And he's one of the saltiest offensive linemen the Titans have had.
Yep. 5
linemen walked right by him and walked back to the huddle. And at that point, I said, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yep.
Because that should have been a fight.
Right.
That should have been a fight. I mean, and if David Stewart's not going to come, oh, boy, that's bad. And so that's when I knew. I mean, this is over.
Yeah, there's always that's the moment where you can tell how a team feels about their quarterback. Like you look back at Marcus Mariota, even though he wasn't like the biggest leader, when Richard Sherman popped him on the sideline, Taylor Lewan came over like a bat out of hell and was ready to go after him. So you're right.
You put in the work.
Right.
People know who puts in the work. People know who's willing to who are people know. I mean, part of the magic of Steve McNair was everybody knew he would risk life and limb for the team.
Yep.
And so they were all willing to risk life and limb for him. And so, why? I don't know what this documentary is going to say. I have my opinion.
Yeah.
The reason for me it didn't go right for Vince Young, he was, number one, he was always the best athlete on the field. He didn't know what it was like to work for it. And yes, he had to put in some level of work. They all do.
Yeah, you can't just show up
but
and
you
make the NFL.
You could see in the national championship game, it was easy for him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still the best big game performance I've ever seen in college football. And so I'm sitting here telling you, immensely talented, I'm huge fan of what he did, but why it didn't work in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then surrounded by people who coddled him. And he wasn't used to being challenged. And he didn't respond to it. You hear Cam now. We don't know if Cam's going to make it or not. But what does he talk about? I think he talked about this in Quarterback on Netflix. He got to Washington State. He didn't know how to watch film.
Yeah.
But he learned. And now he's immersed in it. Puts in the work. He knew it was important.
Right. And you saw that during the Quarterback documentary. Not that it shows everything, but, waking up at 5 a.m. the day after
being there at 5
the day after Thanksgiving to go throw and get ready for the game that weekend.
Yeah.
Like I think that's, again, it's not everything. You got to have talent. You got to have the mental makeup, which it seems like he has. But I'm interested to see how they frame the documentary because
the night he disappeared, that's what everybody wants to see.
Right. That'll be a big part of it.
National police are out looking for him.
Yeah. The Swamp Kings one at Florida, I think everybody wanted to be framed of like, you got Tim Tebow as the quarterback, but then it was a team full of criminals, basically. It's like that's how people wanted it to be framed of, you had Aaron Hernandez on that team. You had
a murderer.
Right. You had the Pouncey twins, who obviously turned out to have big careers, but they had their flaws off the field as well.
Urban have like 36 players arrested?
Yeah, something like that. And there's always been rumors of like Urban Meyer basically working them until they couldn't walk anymore. Like it was there was a lot that went into that, and that's not how it was framed. It was framed about, look at how great they were in these 2 years that they won the national championship. So I wonder if it's framed through the Vince Young lens, which if he's agreeing to be part of it, which I believe I saw he is.
Yeah,
probably going to be through his.
Yes, but from what I've seen from Vince, in the latter years, I think he's matured some.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see what his perspective is looking back. You'll be able to tell if it's all denial.
Right.
But you'll also be able to tell if he falls on the sword some and says, I should have done this. They could have helped me more with this, but I could have done this. And, it's that whole thing of like Steve being traded away. Could have really used having Steve there for a year or two.
Yeah.
But obviously that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. And, they brought in Kerry Collins, which that's a good veteran to have, and obviously showed that he can still play in that 2008 season. But it's that I'm interested to see what that documentary is going to look like and what the perspective is.
Kerry's the OC down at Spring Hill or at Summit High School.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He is still in the area. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to text or call. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Corey with us for the full show. We'll get into some SEC Media Day stuff. I don't know how much you've been keeping up with what's been going on down in Tampa.
Staycation, Jake.
I know. Well,
sorry.
We'll try and catch you up on some of the highlights. We'll also get into the NFL, get into the Titans with training camp coming up in just a week. Rookies report tomorrow. Veterans in 6 days, next Tuesday, they will be here in Nashville ready to roll for the season. 615-737-1025. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, next man up. 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game, Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton. We've got all the updates each day from SEC Media Days down in Tampa. Coverage is brought to you by Shane Company, Tri-State Water, Power, and Air, and the Music City Kickoff Game featuring Ole Miss taking on Louisville September 6th at Nissan Stadium. Get your tickets today at NashvilleSports.com. Cory, I know you've been on staycation, so haven't been keeping up too much with SEC Media Days.
No.
We're halfway done.
Yeah.
Tennessee went on Monday. Vanderbilt went yesterday. Yes, talking season. Did you see the clip yesterday with Cedric Alexander and Paul Feinbaum?
I did not.
This was one of the funny, Paul Feinbaum, good at what he does, right? His show has a niche audience in SEC country.
On 102.5 The Game.
On 102.5 The Game. We play the replay every night. And people love it. And I think the call-in stuff is great. But he does not thrive in formal interviews at these media day things. I remember for basketball media days a couple years ago, it was Shea and Ayanna Moore and Sasha Washington were up there for Vandy's Day. And he just spent the entire interview asking about what's it like to have Shea and Tom Garrick being married on the coaching staff. That was the entire interview. And on the same note,
appreciated that.
Yeah, it was nothing about basketball. It was just how strange is that to have a married couple be your coaches? And they're like, oh, it's cool. They're like mom and dad, blah, blah, blah. And then he'd just keep going with it. In that same vein, Cedric Alexander, do you see this, Christian?
Yes, I was actually watching this live when it happened.
I was
like, I cannot believe that just happened. That's incredible.
So Cedric Alexander is sitting at the desk and Paul Feinbaum just goes, well, you're not like a lot of other athletes. You're married. And he's like, what is that?
I have the clip if we want to hear it.
Yeah.
I can get it real quick.
Pull it up. Yeah, we'll get this. It is so funny because Paul Feinbaum, I'm sure he just steps up there. Somebody hands him a couple of notes and that's it. And it's just he's going to go into the interview. I'll wait for the clip because it is really funny. And Cedric Alexander thinking on his feet is so good. Let me know when you've got it, Christian. And you got it. All right, here was Paul Feinbaum with Cedric Alexander yesterday.
And some players, not all, but you got a degree and you're also married. Congratulations on that. Tell us about a lot of responsibilities for someone. Now you've been in school for a while, but you're not living the life of the or maybe you are, of the average college student, because a lot more of them do get married these days. Talk about that aspect of your life, if you don't mind.
Well, it's okay. I'm not married, but it's okay because I'm married to the game. And that's one thing that I love is the game. And that's one thing that I enjoy doing is being attached to the games for so long. So
I love.
Well, you know what? I'm glad to hear, because we obviously in reading about you saw you talk about being married. We misunderstood. There's a difference, I think, between being married to a human being and being married to a game. You forced me to follow up. I was going to ask you about your family life, but I can't do that now since you don't have one.
So I just love the long rambling question of you're not like a lot of other athletes. Maybe you are, because a lot of these guys are getting married, but what's that like? I'm not married. I'm married to the game. Paul, the difference between the early morning SEC Media Day coverage at the desk with Alyssa Lang, and then it was Dari and Benjamin Watson and all these guys in the second segment, and then Paul Feinbaum. It's just, he doesn't need to be included in that stuff.
ESPN's paying him a lot of money.
I know.
Or did he survive the purge yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, he was still on the air. Okay. I don't think they took him off midway through. No. And it's like I was watching during the turnover, and I'm sure you were, Christian, too. It's like you go from really nuanced and in-depth conversation about the SEC.
Okay, look, and you're going from a talk show host who's used to talking to Jane Bob from Dixie Crust, Alabama. Yeah. Okay. And now you're asking him to ask athletes, coaches, real questions. All right. And then you've got real journalists. All right. Right. I'm not trying to insult Paul. There's a difference.
Paul Feinbaum has a role, and I think he's good at that role, but they kind of put him fish out of water when they put him at those situations. Yeah. And even in the beginning, I don't know who those guys were, Cousin Shane and
that SEC podcast
yeah,
guys?
I guess so. But they had 2 podcasters up to start off the show, and they're just like yelling about 4 lost DeBoer and like he's gonna get fired this year. And it's like I was like, we went from Jordan Rodgers and Cole Kublik and Benjamin Watson all having like in-depth conversation to just like complete off the wall SEC podcast country.
LSU's going 8-4 according to them as well.
They also they said that too. So I thought that was so funny. I'm not married. I'm married to the game.
I probably have to keep mum on some of this stuff, just because of the station's connection to ESPN and my station's connection
100%.
to ABC and ESPN. But and again, I'm just look. Do I like the direction that ESPN has gone in the last 20 years? No. I don't watch it. Unless it's a game, I don't watch it. I don't care what Stephen A. has to say. I don't care about endless hot takes. I used to like NFL Live when it was Trey Wingo and Louis Riddick and Bill Polian and Field Yates, and I would get solid football for an hour, like roster building, offense, quarterback play, really breaking it down. That's me. That's what I like.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
No, I agree.
And I know there's a lot of people today, because that's the direction it's gone, who like hot takes. I'm not, that's not me. And I was just talking with Julian Minnesota from the station yesterday, and we were talking about Carl Ravitch getting laid off, and I think Charles Davis got laid off in the transition. And we were talking about SportsCenter. He's like, I don't know the last time I watched SportsCenter. I'm like, because SportsCenter isn't SportsCenter anymore.
Yeah.
You used to be able to watch SportsCenter in the morning, and they would have a column where it would tell you what's coming up.
I love that.
And you would see highlights from virtually every sport in every game that was played. And I know people say, well, you can get that on YouTube. When I'm at home, I'm having my coffee or going over my email.
Right.
I like having that on in the background and being able to watch it and feel like I got caught up on the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, MLB, college. I mean, just they would go through it all, and it was great. To me, that was great. It was factual, it was visual, and it wasn't just a bunch of obnoxious noise. And I feel like that's all it is now, is obnoxious noise.
Yeah, they've leaned into the McAfee side of it, which...
And I don't watch Pat McAfee.
Right. I don't.
Not 1 second.
I don't really either. NFL Live, I will say, is probably one of the last bastions of, even of the past at ESPN.
Even that has gone more to throw out a topic and hot take rather than dissecting rosters, plays.
Yeah.
Quarterback play, linebacker play, who's excelling at the top of the league in this
right.
situation. I mean, it used to be way more nuts and bolts, and I would feel smarter having it. Was appointment programming for me. I watched it every day.
Yeah. No, I'll even remember back to like when I first got to college. I thought it was better. Like we had cable TV. We didn't have streaming or anything. So me and my roommate would just have ESPN programming on literally like 18 hours a day. It would be on in the room.
And I was there,
and it was good stuff. Like I won't say I'm a huge like Dan Le Batard fan, but I thought Highly Questionable was awesome.
Well, you'd have that, and you'd have PTI.
Around the Horn was fine.
Sure, okay, but so that's 3 hot take shows in the middle of the day.
Right. It was like 3 to 4:30.
But now the entire morning is hot take. The entire afternoon is hot take. And then the evening is promoting whatever they've got coming up.
Yeah.
And hot takes until their next game comes on.
Right. No, I agree with you. I don't love the way that it's trended. I miss, like you said, the Sports Center when you'd wake up in the morning and you turn it on and you just got highlights. But it was great. And there's still a lot of great people who work there. Obviously, lost a couple this week, but like you still got Scott Van Pelt there, and you've still got.
I remember when Scott Van Pelt worked for the Golf Channel and had hair.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. I love SVP, and like when you get into football season, it's great to be able to watch like watch a game. And then after, SVP comes on. And it does feel like you're getting old school ESPN. But back to Paul Feinbaum. Again, I don't have problem with the Paul Feinbaum show necessarily. That's not my thing. Like, I don't love it, but I also understand there is an audience for that.
Yeah, it's in Alabama and Mississippi.
Right. The diehard SEC fans love them some Paul Feinbaum. And it's totally
old
good.
School.
But I just think you're putting him in a situation where that's not what he does, to do these like in-depth interviews at SEC Media Days, where Clark Lee was on with the group before. And I thought it was a great interview, talking to Clark about, the way he talks to his team. And they talk about, you use all the quotes at the podium. Like, which one would you choose if you had to pick one to push to your team? I think there was so much value in those 5 minutes they had with Clark Lee. And then it's like they bring Feinbaum on. It's, oh, you're married.
Let me just say this. So I've told you before, I covered Lou Holtz at South Carolina for a lot of years and got to know him and, got to spend some time with him. And one of the things he wrote down for me was a simple equation. Whenever I go speak at schools, I write this on the chalkboard every time. Preparation plus opportunity equals success. And that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Look, SEC Media Days don't sneak up on you.
It's true.
You have a guest list weeks in advance. You have a staff.
Right.
Okay. You should have sheet upon sheet of questions. Now, you can vary off that depending on what answers are or what somebody said during that day. For sure. But there is no reason not to be prepared if you're Paul Feinbaum or anybody that goes to cover it. I can tell you right now, I would not be prepared to go cover it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. If they threw me out there right now,
I would struggle. But you know what? If I knew I was going to be there, I'd be ready.
No, it's a good point.
Ready. And so that's all I'm saying. And I think a lot of times when you do something for a long time and you're successful, you just, all right, we'll just keep going with the flow.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll continue talking about SEC Media Days here in the first hour. We'll get into the Titans later in the show as well, with training camp coming up in just a few days. 615-737-1025. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at 1025 The Game for live shows and exclusive content. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton along with you. Talking SEC Media Days here. Vanderbilt went yesterday, Tennessee on Monday. And for Vandy, we didn't get to react to much that they had to say. I will say, and Cory, I know you didn't watch what Clark Lee had to say, but he is always phenomenal in those situations.
Success happens when?
Yeah, preparation meets opportunity.
Okay.
There you go.
That he is going to be prepared.
Yes. And every time he walks up, he just crushes the opening statement. And I thought
this is what I'm talking about.
I mean, and obviously he had time to figure that out, but I thought it was exactly what he needed to say about Vanderbilt, where he said last year was not an arrival for Vanderbilt getting to 10 wins. Everybody may look at that and say, wow, look, Vandy's never done that before, but it's just another step in getting to where they want to be, which he said is being the best program in college football. And I thought that was great to basically say, like, you can't get complacent just because you have one good year. You have to keep on building and building to get to where you want to be.
And I think it's also saying, hey, I just hope we can be that good again. It's resetting the bar.
Right.
That was good. We still want to be better.
Yeah.
All right. We're not done. We're not done here. I mean, we want to be national champions. And I know he said that like 2 years ago.
Yeah. And people laughed at him.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Well, speaking of Feinbaum, also, he said to Cedric Alexander, he was like, last year you guys came around here saying you wanted to win a national championship, and I couldn't help but laugh. And it's like.
Well, I mean, it's look, Vanderbilt was a laughable program for a long time. And I always say this, always, okay? Winning does not happen by accident.
Yeah.
It happens with planning, hiring good people, and financial investment. Okay. And for a long time, Vandy was just a taker. They took the SEC check, they took their lumps, and they took the losses. And somewhere along the way, Candace Story-Lee, I don't know how she did it or whatever, but Clark Lee has the money now to field a roster, to have coaches the quality of Jerry Kill,
right,
sitting on his coaching staff, a new facility. I mean, look, that football stadium, there are high school football stadiums in Texas way nicer than that stadium was just a few years ago. It was embarrassing for a school with that kind of endowment to have a stadium that looked that putridly bad. I mean, it was embarrassing. And so now they have a facility.
It's exactly what Vanderbilt needs.
Yeah, and they have support facilities as well.
Yep.
They've got the indoor facility. They're rebuilding everything there in the world around the McGugin Center.
Yeah.
And look, I don't know how it compares to everybody else because I know everybody else is building palaces and everything, but it's not embarrassing anymore. You can bring people through there and say, this is Vanderbilt. All right? This is Vanderbilt, and we're proud of it. And so it didn't did you stumble on Diego Pavia? Yeah. All right. Did you bring him here thinking he could be your starting quarterback? Sure. Did you think he was going to do what he did? Hell no. Come on. No. I mean, come on. But it's not by accident. All right. Good coaches, developing better players, better facilities, tracks it all, retaining players.
Yeah.
You had to retain Pavia and Stowers. You can't tell me somebody wasn't coming at those dudes with some money. All right. So it hasn't happened by accident.
No.
Now, keeping it at that standard, that's a whole nother battle. Go ask Auburn.
Right. Yeah. It's one thing to get there one season. It's another thing to be able to sustain it and to even grow from it. Now, you're seeing the momentum from Vanderbilt, and Jared Curtis obviously has a lot to do with that. You've got your highest rated recruit in program history coming in, and we'll see what they're able to do the next few years. But I just thought there's such a stark contrast between Clark Lee at the podium and the preparation and how insightful he is. And then it's like, again, Shane Beamer, he's a Hokie, so I don't want to go after him too bad, but he goes up there and he's like, a lot of you guys voted us pretty high last year with the players we had coming back. Well, it's the same players, and you're going to vote us really low. And it's like, I just feel like that's you're being antagonistic with the media for no reason.
Well, look, Clark is not your usual football coach. All right. Like, because Clark, like, if you just met him and said, what does this guy do for a living? You'd be like, investment banker or something. Right.
Yeah. He's,
I mean, look, he's a chiseled man. So don't get me wrong on that. But, first thing that comes to mind would probably not be football coach. And Clark understands, and I think really understood going to Vanderbilt, how important messaging was going to be in trying to build that thing up. And, it started with him saying, we want to win a national championship, and knowing that people were going to laugh at him.
Yeah.
But setting that as the bar. So he goes to SEC, where most coaches go to SEC media days and they're like, I don't want to do this. Do I have to go do this? Blah, blah, blah. All right, I'll go up there and I'll just wing it. All right. Who was the coach at UCLA that one year? Deshaun Foster.
Oh, yeah. Deshaun. Yeah.
One of the worst things I've ever heard. But Clark views it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
And so he embraces it. And I'm not saying everybody has to embrace it, but he understood. He understands at Vanderbilt that this is important if he wants to set the bar, set what his program is all about, get that messaging out there to the players, to other coaches, to the college football world. And so he uses this time to really address that in a well thought out PowerPoint, basically, presentation.
Yep.
It can go on a little long. Okay. And he could use a little more inflection at some points, but the messaging is very clear.
It is.
And very easy to understand and very well prepared. And I think a lot of coaches could take something from him on that.
And you saw in the Netflix documentary too, that's not just an act that he puts on. You see him give the speeches to the team, and it's the same kind of the same
when he
message.
Does his Tuesday presser, it's the same thing.
Right. And I think that it really has gotten through to the team. And you had Diego as kind of the extension of Clark Lee last year. You're going to have to see in a different way, but in pushing his message to the locker room.
Yeah.
Like that's more
absolutely.
what I meant, not in terms of the person.
Yeah. That's like calling Tattoo Ricardo Montalban. I mean, come on, man.
No, I understand. Like, in terms of the person, they are very different people, but you could see that they had the same goal and they knew how to push that through the locker room. Yeah. And so you're going to have to find other leaders. Clark Lee did talk about that and said, it doesn't have to come from the quarterback.
No.
We have leaders who have been leaders for years, but were overshadowed because Diego Pavia was standing in the room.
Yeah, and he's just freaking lightning.
Right, and now they have the opportunity to step up.
Frankly, Jared Curtis probably shouldn't be your leader.
Right, as a freshman?
Yeah.
I think eventually he probably needs to be.
You have to earn that.
Right.
You have to earn that. And there should be guys on that roster who've earned it. And there's a few out there. Wide receiver and linebacker.
You saw Junior Sherrill.
Yeah.
You've got Brian Longwell.
Yeah.
You've got Martell Height.
Yeah. I mean, you've got players coming back. It's their program now.
Yeah. Miles Capers is back. Issa Wataha. So they
tight end.
Cole Spence. Yeah. So they've got lots of veteran players. Yeah.
He's a good player.
Yeah, you're right. Like Jared Curtis, I think, has to grow into that, but that doesn't mean week one.
Yeah.
He's the one breaking down the huddle.
It might only take 3 weeks.
Right.
But you're not that guy until you're that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
Because everybody still goes into that game, no matter how much they're saying, oh, he's great. He's been great. They're still wondering when the lights come on and the ball kicks off.
Yep.
What's he, number 2?
Yes.
What's number 2 going to do?
Right. No, it's a good point. And
because the bar's set.
It is. Especially for wearing number 2.
That's right.
615-737-1025. Yes, a very different jersey size for those two. But yes, still wearing the number 2. Let's go to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Clay is called in. Clay, thanks for calling. Good morning.
Good morning, Jake. How you doing?
Doing great.
I figured y'all would eventually bring up Vandy's media day yesterday, so I just had to call in. And furthermore, I wanted to talk to my boy Cory. So,
what's up?
So, y'all said this, and I totally agree. And I'll just say it this way: when Clark Lee first came to Vanderbilt, I just thought it was weird. Just the way he acted on the sideline, he didn't seem very engaged, and he just kind of had this, blank stare on his face. And I was really concerned that he was going to be the right guy. And after I guess it was the 23 season, that was such a disaster. He made some really tough decisions. And I remember a conversation I had face-to-face with him at an NIL event, the Omni, before the bowl game after the 24 season. And I told him how much respect I had for that. And the guy is an unbelievable motivator. And I've never played football, but every time I listen to that dude, you know, whether it's yesterday's conversation or whether it's one of his Tuesday press conferences, I'm ready to go run through a brick wall for that dude. So, you know, I think he's the perfect choice for Vanderbilt. I'm glad we've got him locked up. I don't think the chancellor gets enough credit for where Vanderbilt sports is now and where it's going. Because,
well, Clay, if you just heard me, I just talked about the fact that this doesn't happen by accident. It's a university decision that we're going to compete.
Right. Because we've had chancellors in the past, you guys both know this, that probably didn't give a rip about sports and didn't care if Vanderbilt sports were good.
They say out of one side they do, but out of the other side of their mouth, they're like, yeah, I'm not writing that check.
Yeah. And you mentioned it, Corey. You know, the stadium did used to be a joke.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's not a pot shot. I mean, everybody knew that.
No, that's just being honest.
Yeah.
And because there are high school stadiums in Texas that were probably, you know, better.
Infinitely.
But now I think it's really impressive. And I think the crowd has, you know, it's a louder place now because the way they constructed it, you know, I think the crowd is more right down on top of it. And
you got a little more to cheer for too, Clay.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. But as far as created in this, I truly believe this guy has these players believing that they can beat anybody.
Sure.
I don't think you're going
to
tell Clark. Yeah, he probably truly believes, and the players probably truly believe that they can still win 9 or 10 games. Now, I don't know how realistic that is with a freshman quarterback, but I'm really interested to find out. And because I do think these guys think they can compete with anybody. And I just never thought I'd see Vanderbilt football in a place like this. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, Clay, I agree. I mean, I've been here for a long time, and I always heard a lot of lip service, and I just said, you know, show me, prove it to me. And, you know, it's not just the wins, right? It's the stadium. Yeah. It's the support facilities. It's the retention of the coaching staff and the players. It says we are committed to doing this. Now, you know, he talked about the struggles of Clark early, and I know I bring up Jerry Kill all the time. He came here for a reason.
Yep.
To help Clark learn how to run a successful program. All right. He's been successful everywhere he's been, and health-wise, just not up maybe to being a head coach all the time. I mean, he has been an invaluable resource in, you know, Clark. You know, it's interesting, Clay, how you talk about how he was on the sideline, because this is always a big point of contention with me. Fans want their coach to be nuts on the sideline.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to talk to Mike Munchak about this all the time. He's like, I can't let my players see me panic, because then they're going to panic.
Yeah.
And so Tom Landry stood on the sideline with a hat on and a sport coat and a playbook under his arm. Yeah. I mean, his face didn't move, and all the Cowboys did was kick butt every freaking week. So I think a lot of that, you know, can be way, way, way overstated. And I think there's a lot to be said for taking everything that's going on in your head in and analyzing. You still have to lead, but as you talked about, Clay, he's an effective leader.
Yeah.
He's an effective leader. And so, you know, they've supported him to help him become a better coach.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. That's part of it. And you're right. He is the right guy, because I do other shows around the Southeast, and they all asked me last year, oh, is somebody going to nab Clark Lee? And I tell them every week, I'm like, you guys are crazy. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He is invested in Vanderbilt. Oh, but if this if Penn State comes calling, I'm like, guys, maybe, but I'm just telling you, I don't think he's going anywhere. Yep. I think he wants to win a championship at Vanderbilt.
Yep.
That's what he wants to do. And I think you guys don't understand who he is if you can't embrace that. And I think that's, you know, to have a coach who doesn't view Vanderbilt as a stepping stone, because 99% of coaches in college football would have been out of there after last year. All right. But I didn't even consider it.
Yeah.
And so that has huge value to it as well.
100%.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks for the call, Clay.
Clay.
Appreciate it. No, I think Clay made some really good points there of the alignment from Chancellor Diermeyer to Candace Story-Lee.
It has to be that way.
And through all the coaches. Like, you're seeing the success across the board.
Basketball, men's and women's.
Right. Mark Byington, Shea Ralph, bowling, national championship squad. And then also, I thought it was a good point from Clay of these guys believe that they can beat anybody. I think it's hard.
They have.
Right. It's hard to get players to buy into a program when they haven't seen it.
Yep.
Like, you have to believe that you can accomplish something that you haven't seen. Now you've seen it.
When they knocked off Alabama
yep.
here, and I know they ended up going 6-6 that year.
They went 7-6 with a bowl win.
Because he got hurt.
Yep.
But that win, when you talk about the moment Clark planted the Vanderbilt flag in the Southeastern Conference,
that was it.
That's it.
Yep.
It is 100. I remember watching that game and my jaw just on the ground because I was just like, remember, did you see Miracle?
Yeah.
When Herb Brooks was looking at the Russian coach, he doesn't know what to do.
Right.
And I was watching Vanderbilt play Alabama. I'm like, they don't know what to do. They can't stop them. They're not going to win. Vanderbilt's going to beat them.
That last drive for Vandy where, Alabama made it a 5-point game. And Vandy got the ball back with 4 minutes left.
Just
I think everybody around college football was sitting there saying,
this is when they lose.
It's going to be a 3-and-out, and Alabama's going to go down the field and win. And Diego Pavia and the running game, they crushed them in the trenches on that drive. The offensive line
crushed them in the trenches that entire game.
But in that moment, the offensive line bullied Alabama's defensive line.
And that's what signaled that Vanderbilt was for real.
Yeah.
Not that Diego Pavia was running around like a chicken with his head cut off making plays, but that they could compete in the trenches.
Yep.
5 guys across against Alabama. That is something we had never seen before. And that's when I talk about investment in player development.
Yep.
All right. And they got even better than last year on the offensive line than they were that year.
Yep.
Because they spent money on that offensive line last year, and they won 10 games.
Yep, and they have to replace some pieces on the offensive front this year.
That's life.
Again, now that you've seen it, you're getting more players to believe that they can be a part of a winning culture at Vanderbilt. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll wrap up hour number 1 after this. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton. Today, the Nashville Sounds take on the Sugarland Space Cowboys. First pitch is at 7:05. You can catch all the action on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks Family Leisure, Maple Street Biscuit Company, and Social Cantina. Continuing our conversation around SEC Media Days, talked about Vanderbilt, Clark Lee speaking yesterday. For both the local teams, Cory, a lot of the questions are around the quarterback position. You've got two really highly touted true freshmen coming in. I think the expectation for both teams is that those guys are going to be the starter.
You know, we talk about that, but we act like George McIntyre wasn't a 5-star quarterback.
Newer is always better, Cory.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, one of them's a lot bigger than the other one.
Well, I think so with Vanderbilt, the question is, do you let Blaise Berlowitz start because he's been in the system with Tim Beck forever? I mean, he came over from New Mexico State, backed up Diego Pavia. He knows the system. Jared Curtis, though, is obviously the best recruit, the highest rated recruit that you've gotten in program history.
Chad Powers for Jerry, okay?
Speaking of Chad Powers, quickly, have you seen The Hawk on Netflix?
I watched a little bit of it.
It's not great, but it's entertaining. I watched most of it. I haven't gotten to the end yet, but
it's like Ricky Bobby plays golf.
Right. Yes, that is exactly what it is.
Old Ricky Bobby playing
Ricky
golf.
Bobby plays golf. I knew because we talked Chad Powers. I was like, I bet Cory started watching this.
I watched the first episode. I'm good.
Yeah, but no, you're right. It's
new season of Star Trek: Strange New World drops tomorrow.
Really?
Yes.
Got to say, I haven't gotten into that.
You're a loser.
with Jared Curtis, I think the expectation is he's going to be the starter. Although I did like what Clark said yesterday. It was
he's not handing it to him.
Right. They made no promises when he signed. It was not, you're signing here to be the starting quarterback. He's going to have to go earn it. But he's talented enough that I think the expectation is he is going to earn it. With Tennessee, I think is the more intriguing one because you're right. George McIntyre is a 5-star, but you look at it, you say, physically, is he going to be able to play in the SEC with the athletes that you're facing week in, week out? I mean, he's a string bean. And
you ever see Tom Brady at the NFL Combine?
Well, Tom Brady wasn't skinny at the NFL Combine. He was just not very muscular.
Okay.
Let's pull up that picture.
He kind of looked like a coat hanger with skin. Okay. And that was after. And that was after college.
He is a little skinnier than I remembered, but I mean, he just looks like an average guy.
No, like George is skinny. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. What's Christian? You said he's what, like 6'5", 206 or something like that.
208, I believe, is the new weight,
yeah.
And he's gained weight apparently in the offseason. So
yeah, absolutely.
He's like me. We're a skinny guy. I get it. I go through the same struggle.
Yeah, I do not. I'm just saying. I mean, I think. I don't know who's going to play, but I think, like you said, newer is always better.
I think that's what it is you've got the new shiny toy, and if Brandon doesn't play this year, I think you worry about, does he ever play for Tennessee?
We also could say George hasn't seized the opportunity, because if he seized the opportunity, it'd be, yeah. But you could also say, well, Hendon Hooker didn't seize the opportunity.
That is true.
Until he got a chance to play, and then he seized the opportunity. And so that's why I guess I'm not counting out George at this point. George McIntyre, Tennessee quarterback. And as for Jared, I think if he doesn't, he needs to play as much as he can those first 2 weeks. Don't they open 2 cupcakes?
The Vandy.
Yeah.
They got Austin Peay and Delaware to start the season.
He's got to play. He's got to play a lot. All right. And then you got NC State, I think, week 3.
It's NC State, then at Auburn, at Georgia.
Okay.
That's the first half of the season.
You got 4. And I don't know how good Auburn's going to be this year, but they've been bottom half of the league for the last few years. That's a nice ramp up, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right. Week over week, it gets harder and harder.
Yeah.
You get FCS, Group of 5, then Power 5, then SEC road game.
Don't you think that's intentional?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think some of these schedules were set before they had signed Jared Curtis, but I think you probably knew no matter what, you're going to have a new quarterback this year.
Yes, that's my point. You knew in 2026 you were going to have a new quarterback. So we're going to.
Yeah.
Unless you were going to get Pavia another year.
Well, there's there's talk from both schools that this competition could possibly leak into the season, right?
Well, I think it makes more sense at Tennessee.
Yeah, because you got Furman week 1.
Well, you got 2 5-stars dueling it out.
Right. And
look, Blaise Berlowitz
he's a placeholder.
He was a backup at New Mexico.
Right.
And he was a backup here. All right. I mean,
I think Jared Curtis has to earn it in fall camp. And if I had to make a guess,
he should have to earn it.
If I had to make a guess, I would guess that Jared Curtis is the starter just based on the talent that we know he has. But they're not gonna name that until those guys go earn it on the practice field.
And I think I did see some of what Clark had to say about Jared and about the quarterback position, maybe more. And it's not just about size, strength, ability to make the throws. It's setting protection,
right,
and handling pressure and some of those things. Because look, when Jared was under pressure at Nashville Christian, he was bigger than the guys pressuring him. Right. That will not be the case at Vanderbilt.
No,
he will have some dude who's 6'6" and 310 pounds bearing down. That is a lot different than 5'9", 190 pounds.
Right.
All right, which is frankly what he saw a lot of. And that's why I say the step up is massive.
It is.
But that's why I think it's so important that he does play. If he is going to be your guy and you are paying him to be your guy, he may take some lumps early, but if he's worth his salt, he'll respond to that. And if he's not, you're going to find out that he's not. Okay?
No, and I get what you're saying too, of if you're not going to play him early, you're taking away the valuable reps that he would need to get ready for the SEC.
We didn't think he was ready against Austin Peay, but now that we're playing Alabama, let's roll him out there.
Yeah, I think Jared Curtis is going to play in week 1 would be my guess. Maybe they split reps with Berlowitz early on. I don't know.
But he needs to play, to me, at least 3 quarters.
Yeah.
And then if you want to play Berlowitz in the 4th,
yeah,
then that's fine. But the kid's got to go out there. He's got to put points on the board.
Yeah.
He's got to see live action. He's got to see college football. He's got to see guys as big as he is or bigger coming after him.
Fall camp going to be interesting for both teams in the state this year, Vanderbilt and Tennessee, as they look to find their starting quarterback for 2026. 615-737-1025, 1 hour in the books. We will continue some college football talk in hour number 2, getting the NFL and the Titans as they get ready for training camp in just over a week. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5, The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Sticking with college football here to start off the second hour. We will talk some Titans. I misspoke. Training camp is under a week away. It's sneaking up on us. I said to you, it's 6 days away, and you're like, they report on Tuesday, right?
Well, no, well, I said rookies report tomorrow.
Yeah, which is wild.
Yeah.
We count down the days of the offseason, and it's crazy that training camp is actually just around the corner. And we will talk plenty of Titans later on in the show.
It's not really training camp anymore. It's just practice with a lot of dudes.
Yeah, no, that is true, right? Like, there's no two-a-days anymore.
No. They get a day off every third day.
Right. It's very different from previous training camp, but you're right. It's practice where fans and media get to come out, and you've got 90 guys instead of
it's practice,
70.
It's practice with a lot of dudes.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I'm excited. Training camp, we always make way too much of it. I said this yesterday with Christian of like,
yes and no.
Every day we're analyzing every single play that gets made, and it's like, yeah, some of those things carry over, and you're in week 3, and you're like, man, this issue we talked about in training camp is rearing its ugly head. But a lot of the times, it's just they're working out the kinks.
You know, Mark Mariani, 7th round pick out of Montana, and pretty evident in training camp. Caught everything, and we were like, this kid might be able to play.
Yeah,
and and I know he's a fringe player, but like Bryce Oliver came in 2 years ago, and I was like, this guy is big and strong, and he catches everything, and he and Malik are like locked in with each other. I'm like, I think, and so again,
yeah, you saw it in the preseason too.
Yeah, and then it extended in the preseason. He's an undrafted free agent from Youngstown State.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was like, I kind of like him, and then so there are guys that show up. And that look, it doesn't always work out,
right?
It certainly doesn't always
Kyle
work
Phillips
out. Yeah
Kyle Phillips had a great debut against the Giants. It was like 6 catches for 80 yards or something.
He just got rocked.
He got hurt.
Well, he wasn't big enough, and he just got rocked.
Well, and then the one thing that everybody was like, all right, well, even if he's not a great wide receiver, he's going to be a great punt returner,
Mm-hmm.
and then he couldn't catch anything.
Well, and then they put him out there hurt.
Yeah,
which didn't help.
No, but you're right that yes, there are guys in training camp that you look at and you're like, man, I didn't expect to see that from him, and it does carry over. But I think there's probably just as many examples of guys who you talk about in training camp who end up just being training camp darlings.
I think the morning show guys were talking about Marcus Johnson.
Yeah, Marcus Johnson.
Yeah, he just lit it up for the Titans in the preseason and training camp, and then had a 100-yard game.
He did against the Texans,
and then got hurt. And then got hurt and disappeared. So yeah, you're right, but like I said, there are guys that show up and you go, okay, maybe there's something there. And then there's a lot of guys, and I guess there's a lot of guys who don't show up that you're just like, okay, he's just a guy.
Yeah, no, it's true. You know who's going to be the training camp darling this year?
Who's that?
Xavier Restrepo. Everybody wants to catch the strep. I don't know. There's not much context here. Xavier Restrepo tweeted last night. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody else talk about this. He tweeted 4.45, 2 like smiling emojis and ... coach battle. Does that mean Xavier Restrepo ran a 4.45 40?
Not officially, but
not officially. Hand timer.
He's seeing him this summer. He's thinner.
Yeah.
He's dropped some weight. And could that make him faster? Sure.
Right. With Restrepo, he's always going to be a good story just because of the connection with Cam Ward, and people are always going to be rooting for him. But
he was a highly productive college football player.
He is the most productive receiver in Miami history.
They've had some good ones.
They've had some Hall of Famers have gone through the Miami Hurricanes football program at wide receiver. Yeah. And so I love that they brought him on board as an undrafted free agent last year. I thought that was a great idea. I think expectations were too high. I also just don't know if there's a spot for him on this team this year. Given the investment that you've made at wide receiver, you've brought in a true slot guy in Wan'Dale Robinson, which would be the role Restrepo would fill. But I do think that it's it's been evident that he's taken strides forward. And if you hope you can sneak him through to the practice squad again, and maybe he continues to develop over the next year or so.
Again, the problem there is, like you said, Wan'Dale Robinson takes up a roster spot,
right?
Because he's going to start. But, so you've got Robinson, you've got Ridley, you've got the two guys from last year, DK and Tate. And DK,
Iamaner and Tate.
And then you got Tate. That's five.
That's five.
So you got 5 spots automatically gone. All right. The 6th guy
has to play special teams.
Exactly.
Yep.
And we're not talking about returning kicks.
No. Yeah, you've already got DK returning kicks.
Yes.
And Spears probably will return kicks if he's healthy. Actually, I don't know if you want him to return kicks.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But so
it's probably Bryce Oliver because he's a gunner.
So yes, KJ Osborne probably could be a gunner as well. I don't know how much experience he has. That I'm going to guess he's got some because he's always been like a 3, 4, 5 kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then I think like Iamaner may be forced to learn to play some special teams.
Well, yeah, or he might end up being a healthy scratch.
Because, he's got the build to do it, and he can do that gunner. And Nick Westbrook-Akina used to do it, and still go out and play wide receiver. So Bryce Oliver won over the last coaching staff. I know he won over Bones Fossil, who's still there, but he's got to stay healthy, and it's got to be a battle. But that's that 6th spot, and that's where I'm not rooting against Xavier Restrepo. Like I said, highly productive college player.
Yeah.
Is working hard to elevate his game. Maybe he winds up like a late bloomer, like some of these guys we've seen in the past, the Wes Welkers and Julian Edelmans and stuff like that. Maybe he does.
No, it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. I'm not predicting it, but I'm not sitting here saying he can't succeed in this league.
Right. The roster math is just tough this year.
Yes.
Because if you're keeping 6 wide receivers, your 6th wide receiver can't be a slot only guy who doesn't play special teams.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense because he's probably not going to do much for you on game days.
No, it was like keeping Julius Chestnut over Hassan Haskins. It made 0 sense.
Right. It's like they like the way Julius Chestnut carries the ball, but he's not going to carry the ball ever. Right. So that's kind of what Xavier Restrepo would be. It's like, oh, we really like what he can do as a receiver, but it's like, all right, well, he's receiver number 6. How many times is he going to be on the field on offense?
Well, and also if you really need him, you probably will be able to call him up from the practice squad.
Yes.
Which is, kind of exactly what will probably happen unless somebody else scoops him up.
And you do see waiver claims after cuts down to 53 every year. There's going to be,
but again, nobody's going to claim Xavier Restrepo to be their 6th.
Yes.
They've got to claim him to play slot.
And you've got to cut somebody who's already been in your building.
Yeah.
And unless he blows up in the preseason, like that would be where the Titans might view it and say, man, if we let him go, we're going to lose him.
Yeah.
And that it's very possible that happens. I wouldn't say it's likely. And I always think when it comes to these guys who are borderline roster guys, like they're guys 54 through 60, no one likes you more than the team that you were already with, right?
Same with the practice squad.
Right. That's how Mason Kinsey has stuck around for so long.
Yeah.
He hasn't been as valuable to anybody else as he has been to the Titans. And I think that goes for around the league is the guys who just miss your roster, outside of a handful who are going to be waiver claims, no one values you more than the team that you've been in the building with.
Yeah. I mean, how many guys have the plucked off of another team's practice squad that have been a long-term fix? I think like Daryl Baker, I think was a roster claim after a cut down.
Yeah, he was a waiver claim,
and he stayed for a couple years and was a pretty good player for this team.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anybody else.
But that was a waiver claim,
right?
But like they've pulled guys off practice squads, and they come in, and you're like,
yeah.
But I mean, again, there's a reason. I mean, look, some guys really. I mean, James Harrison, I always say this, was a practice squad player.
Yeah.
Okay. So some guys need the time to develop a little bit, but and I love the fact that you can put veterans on the practice squad now. I think that's a great change for the NFL.
Yeah.
Because your team, you give people better football. It's just that simple. You
Right.
give people better football.
And having the standard call-ups every single week, it just allows you to be deeper and manipulate your roster in ways that you couldn't before.
Again, I just always get back to, you give fans a better product. You're not pulling a guy in off the street to play, which is what we have seen over and over again for years.
Yeah.
Oh, they signed him on Wednesday. He's starting. That doesn't make the league better.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And I think COVID had a large reason to do with
that. No, they
that.
learned a lot from COVID. They learned a lot from COVID.
The Broncos had to play a wide receiver at quarterback because they had no one else available.
Yeah.
And it's like giving teams more options isn't a bad thing. So
it's better for the league.
With Restrepo, like, I think he's going to be fun to watch in training camp. Unless he's going to have to go and leave no doubt that he deserves to be on this team. Because if it's close, you're going to go with somebody who has special teams ability.
I know they restructured Calvin Ridley. I just view him as expendable if there's a trade for him.
Yeah, if somebody's willing to give up
like a 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially as you get later in the season. Like, I do think.
I'm talking about training camp.
You're talking into training camp?
Training camp. If somebody's like, hey, we need somebody, we'll give you a 5 for Ridley.
So
because his contract's tradable now. It's not so bad.
No, you're right. His cap hit is like $11 million this year, which is not backbreaking, which would send you into, so like, let's say, just for argument's sake, Xavier Restrepo leaves no doubt. And you're like, we've got wide receivers left and right that we like. And Ridley, we don't really need him anymore.
Well,
you trade him.
Again, part of my Ridley conversation here is he's not part of your future.
Right. He's not going to be here next year.
Yes. And so that's why I consider him expendable, because nobody expects the Titans to go to the Super Bowl this year.
No.
All right. Maybe they're the Patriots, but I'd be stunned. All right.
Yeah.
And so, I think you're better off seeing your younger guys play and develop. And if you can get an asset for them, I'm probably in the minority, but that's what I think.
I don't know if that's going to be possible week 1, but I do think you might get to the trade deadline. And if you're not feeling like you're in the playoff hunt, or Calvin Ridley has just kind of been fine, and you're like, hey, we want to see DK and Iamaner, somebody might be willing to give you a day 3 pick for Calvin Ridley.
I want to see DK and Iamaner anyway.
No, I know. And I think by the end of the season, you might say, Ridley's not part of next year. These guys very well might be. Let's see what we've got. And
I also think you got to trade him in camp, because you don't know if he'll be there healthy at the trade deadline. I'm not trying to criticize the guy, but he just, the whole time, he hasn't been consistent the whole time.
No.
And I think his value could be highest at training camp.
It's very possible. I would guess that Calvin Ridley is on the roster week 1.
Yeah, I would guess that too.
I do see what you're saying is you've built a much deeper receiving core than you've had in previous years, and he could end up being expendable.
You've got to find out if these are I think DK, Robinson, Tate, to me, is pretty good 3. With Iamaner as your 4, potential, and he's got to take a step forward this year. But it's your 2,
and that would allow you to keep an extra. Whether it doesn't have to be Restrepo, like you could keep KJ Osborne and Bryce Oliver, or it could be Restrepo, but it does give you flexibility to keep some younger guys. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'd love to hear from you. We'll keep going with the Titans here coming up next. Talk about what this team could look like in 2026 with training camp coming up in just a few days. Our football offseason coverage on 1025 The Game is presented by Tennessee Brewworks and Parman Tractor and Equipment, providing totally outrageous customer service. Visit ParmanTractor.com. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton next. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, talking Titans with you here in hour number 2. We just went through the wide receiver room. I think big picture with the Titans, there's still a lot of unknown, and we're going to find out as we get into training camp,
including the coaching staff.
Right. The coaching staff, there's a little more known because they're experienced, right? Like we've seen Brian Daboll be a productive offensive coordinator before.
We've seen Robert Saleh be a productive defensive coordinator.
Right. We haven't seen him be, we
haven't seen either of them win as head coach.
Yes. Robert Saleh did not do enough as head coach with New York. That's why he is no longer with the New York Jets.
Did have Zach Wilson.
By the way,
and a hurt Aaron Rodgers.
Have you seen the Jets' new logo?
It looks like their old logo, right?
It doesn't say Jets anymore.
Oh, no.
It is just a
L
football with a jet. It's very
that's stupid.
Modern, simplistic.
No, that's terrible.
Have you seen this, Christian?
I have not. This is the first I've even heard. What in the absolute heck?
Anybody on the stream? This is their.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
That's their new profile picture on Twitter.
Now, is that going to be like on the helmet?
I don't think so because they just released new helmets yesterday, and it still had JETS on there.
Okay, so that's not a big deal.
I guess maybe it's just like their simplistic one that they're going to put up in their office or something like that.
The Titans have their new logo,
right?
But they also have like some secondary.
They've got the like crest with the TN in there.
Yes.
So maybe that's what that is. I don't know.
That's what I'm guessing.
But yeah. Anyway, Robert Saleh's time with the Jets. There's a lot of reasons why it didn't go well.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches haven't had success with the Jets.
Yes,
and Zach Wilson
accurate.
Has not proven to be a high-level NFL quarterback. So
he's with the Saints now.
He's been everywhere.
Yeah.
He was with the Dolphins.
Broncos.
He's been with the Broncos. Yeah. So
which tells you how good he is.
Yes.
Nobody keeps him.
Everybody wants to get rid of him as soon
Everybody
as possible.
sees him and goes, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we can get somebody else there.
Move on.
And, of course, personnel-wise, you think that the roster's gotten better based on the moves that they made. It'd be very disappointing based on the money they spent and the draft picks they had if they didn't get better.
And I know they've done more to build the back end of the roster than had been done in the past.
Yeah.
So, and that's important, as we have found out.
Trevor on the text line says the Jets will put the words back in their logo when they finally get an interception. Hopefully not week 1.
Let's put an L on their helmet.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask the question. We don't know what the Titans are going to look like this year. They could be just as bad as they've been the last few years. We don't know. They could be much better. How much better, we don't know. If the Titans are successful this season, what do you think are the 3 biggest reasons why they take a step forward?
Oh, boy. Well, effective leadership.
Okay, coaching staff.
Yeah. Look, I think most coaches know X's and O's. All right?
Yeah.
But not all are effective leaders. Okay. Titans coaching staff last year was not good, right? But what unit was good?
Special teams.
Effective coach?
Yep.
Okay. There you go.
No, it's a good point.
Effective leadership. So top to bottom, effective leadership on the coaching staff is where I start, and that because that gets players developed, playing with confidence, and players playing with confidence play fast and make plays and blah, 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 blah. And then you got to go to the quarterback. You got to go to Cam Ward. Does he take a step forward?
Yep.
Next year, or this year. So it would go there, and then I'm pretty simple. It's got to be the offensive line.
Yep. I think we're pretty much on the same page here.
It's got to be you saw when the offensive line, Peter Skoronski said, guys, this is not good enough. This is not acceptable. And they go out and they ran it down Cleveland's throat. I've said this a million times. How many times did they score 24 points or more to finish the season? You look at the first 8 games and you look at the last 9 games.
Yeah.
And it's a world of difference. I did a graphic not long ago talking about the Titans offense during Callahan and post Callahan. And for a team that still stunk, it wasn't embarrassingly bad.
Yeah.
Because when Callahan was coach, they averaged 11, 12 points a game.
Yeah.
They were just unbelievably bad.
They did not score 24 pre the bye week. Post bye week, they scored 24 in 5 out of their last 8 games.
Yeah.
So, no.
And that includes the last one where the quarterback got hurt.
Right. Where they scored 7
Yeah, right off the bat.
They scored the maximum amount of points they could with their starting quarterback.
Man, I was juiced for that game after that opening drive.
Right. Well, yeah, because Jeffrey Simmons had the third down sack, the punt, and then the offense went right down the field and scored.
And Cam looked great.
I want to say that was the day Vandy women's basketball played LSU. And so that game started at like 1 or 2 o'clock, and the Titans game obviously started at noon. And so I watched that first drive, and I was like, all right, man, that's great.
Yeah, 48-7.
I saw the tweet that it was like Cam Ward out for the game. I was like, all right, no reason to watch the rest of this game.
That is 100% right.
I think we're on the same page with what needs to happen for this team to take a step forward. I think you're right. Effective leadership. Robert Saleh has to prove that the issues when he was in New York were more about the Jets and the quarterback situation than it was about him as a head coach.
Yeah.
And that goes through his coaching staff too. You need good coaching from Dable, Bradley, Bones Fossil, but we've seen those guys be good in those positions before,
Bricillo.
Which makes you feel, Bricillo. I think Cam Ward's reason number one for me. If the Titans are better this year, it's because the quarterback was better. If the Titans are bad again this year, it's because the quarterback didn't get better. I think that's number one. And then the offensive line. You took a gamble this offseason by not really addressing anything on the offensive line.
It's really scary.
You did not upgrade on paper on the offensive line from an offensive line that, yes, did get better as the season went along, but still gave up 55 sacks last year. So,
yeah, but again, how many of them? I mean, I'm just going to tell you, like after Cali, I think the average was like just over 1 sack a game.
Yeah, let me look.
The sacks during Callahan was astronomical, but the sacks after Callahan was very, very manageable. It was like 1.5 a game.
Yeah, so let's see. We'll just do post-bye week again. Post-bye week, Cam Ward had 17 sacks in 8 games. So two a game,
as opposed to like 4.5.
38 in 9 games.
Yeah,
so yeah, four a game.
Yeah,
so yeah,
so half
it was
as many.
cut in half.
Yes,
but yes, the offensive line gamble has to pay off. And you look at it and you say, man, that's an average offensive line at the end of the year.
Yeah,
and you need to get better if you're going to take a step forward and be a playoff contender. But if this team is a 7, 8, 9 win team, it's because the offensive line also wasn't horrible.
Well, it's like, remember when the Titans had I think they had Taylor Lewan, Quentin Spain.
Yeah, Spain was the left guard right before Saffold. That's
what I'm getting at. And then you have Ben Jones.
Yeah. And then it was the year before they drafted Nate Davis at right guard. Who was the right guard then? Oh, it was Josh Klein.
Yeah. But so you had some marginal pieces in there. And then you brought in Roger Saffold. And all of a sudden you got an offensive line that's just kicking butt.
Yes. You need those guys to at least be serviceable players this year, whether it's Sloatman, Volson, Slater, Coogan, whoever it is, they need to be serviceable players this year. Carmona, Andre James, whoever plays in those center right guard spots have to be serviceable. I also think if you're going to be a better team, you need to have something to hang your hat on. You need something that is going to be really high level. And the one thing that stands out is the defensive line. I think if the defensive line can be great against the run and can affect the passer, because that's what they've upgraded the most this offseason. They went out and got a talented and deep defensive line. I think if the Titans take a step forward, coaching, quarterback, and trench play. Football is an easy game when you whittle it down to that stuff.
Yeah. And the reason I didn't bring up the defense is I expect the defensive line to be good.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, look, I'm not a huge fan of what they've got on the edges necessarily right now. I mean, Johnson's a nice player, but he's not a dominant player.
He's had one good season.
But then you've got another first rounder, that you're bringing in. Yep. And then the corners have got to live up to it.
Yeah.
We've seen this before, and they haven't lived up to it. These guys have got to live up to it.
Yeah.
But again, you're paying both those guys. There's an expectation that those guys play well, just like with the defensive line. So my expectation is that the defense is going to play pretty well. So when you're asking why, if the Titans are good, why? Well, because they're going to put points on the board. Because the defense should keep them in games.
Yeah.
All right. And so that comes down to the quarterback and the offensive line.
Yep.
Because, the running back room is
fine.
Their wide receiver room right now is better, but we don't know how good. But, the early returns, you talk about the value of training camp.
Yeah. Carnell Tate.
OTAs, we go look at Carnell Tate, go, all right.
He looks the part.
The team knew. The team knew. We didn't know. The team knew. All right. Chris Johnson knew and the team knew.
Yep.
All right. And so, now we'll see, you got to take it beyond the practice field, but you saw that. So you think it's better. But again, a lot of that's on the quarterback too. And the offensive line. Because, again, you saw it when you can run the football and you actually want to run the football.
The quarterback looks better too.
Yes.
Yeah.
The quarterback looks a lot better. It slows down. Look, I still go back, Mike McCoy, say whatever you want about him, got high marks for me because they looked at Myles Garrett and they said, we are going to run right at him. And they ran right at him all day long.
Yep.
And just torched the Browns. And that was with Dan Moore at left tackle.
Yeah.
And he pass rushed himself out of run play after run play. And they just torched him. And, he said Cam didn't put up electric numbers that day.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns, but he didn't turn the ball over.
How many points they put on the board? 32?
They put 31 on the board.
31 on the board.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So if you can run the ball and have effective and not spectacular quarterback play, you can still put points on the board.
He did throw a pick in that game. Oh, right. Devin Bush dropped into a passing lane and picked him off early in the game. I was going to say, I don't remember that interception, but he only got sacked once.
Yeah.
That in the intro every hour, they had to wrap him around to get to Cam Ward. That's Myles Garrett getting his 1 sack that day. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll take your thoughts. If the Titans improve this year, let's say they are close to a 500 team, what are the biggest reasons why? 615-737-1025. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton with you on your Wednesday morning. Getting ready for Titans training camp. It is just a week away. Rookies report tomorrow. Veterans report next Tuesday. And then we go. Titans will have, I believe, their first open practice to the fans is next Saturday, August 1st. So
that's the one at the stadium.
I think that's the 7th. I think that's the Friday evening. One.
Never mind.
There's lots of them, though.
It's a good time to remind fans, if you want to go to practice, you have to have a ticket.
Yes. Yeah, you can't just show up.
They're free.
Right.
But you have to go to the Titans website to get them. All right. So just go to the Titans website, TennesseeTitans.com, which they now own that domain finally.
Yeah, it was Titans Online for a long time.
And so, and then you just apply for free tickets because you can't just show up and get it.
Yeah, it's first come, first serve.
And that's because they have limited space.
Yes, it's. I'm reading through the article here. Attendance is extremely limited due to the footprint of the field.
It's true.
But
they're
the
not lying.
Open practices August 1st, August 3rd, August 4th. The stadium scrimmage is August 7th.
Okay. Again, you got to have tickets for that too.
Yes. Then August 9th, that's a Sunday. August 17th, which is after the first preseason game in Santa Clara. And then the two joint practices here are both open. August 21st against the Seahawks, August 27th against the Bears.
And a game against the 49ers in Santa Clara, you will see on News 2.
Yes, you will. As well as the Bears game.
Yeah, the
correct?
one at home. Yeah, the second one. The third one.
Third one, yes,
yeah,
the Bears game.
The Seahawks game is I believe Fox. Yeah.
Yep.
But we've got the first third. As far as I know, it's myself, Paul Burmeister, and Charles Davis once again.
Love it. That's a great crew you guys have.
You know,
I've enjoyed watching those preseason games.
Have you? Well,
yeah.
I appreciate it. But look, Paul's a pro.
Right.
And we know Charles is a pro.
Paul's the voice of Notre Dame, right?
Not anymore.
He was previous voice of Notre Dame.
Previous. NBC Sports. And,
right.
Former Iowa quarterback. Played for Hayden Fry.
Yeah.
And takes his job seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because I've worked with different people. I started doing the sideline, and then I moved up and did the play-by-play for like a decade, and had Eddie and Keith Bullock and Kevin Carter and Kerry Collins, just to name a few. In the booth with me.
It was Dan Helly for a few years, right?
And then the Titans decided they wanted to make a national broadcast, and so they brought in Dan and Charles.
Yeah,
and that's a little better. That's their prerogative, and I understand what they're after. All right, and so they brought in Dan and Charles, and a year later they brought me back in on the sideline, and then was it 3 years, 2 years? This would be Paul's third year.
Yes, that sounds right, because he did it the year we were just talking about with Malik Willis and Bryce Oliver hooking up for the two times. That was his first year, so that was 2 years ago.
That wasn't last year?
No, because Malik got traded 2 years ago.
No, that was after camp, though. That was after the preseason he got traded.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
That was that year, right? Like Malik got traded 2 years ago because remember he came in and beat Will Levis 3 weeks later.
I'm old. I can't remember any of this.
They all blend together.
They do. But yeah, so I've worked with a lot of different people. I've seen a lot of different levels of preparation and interest. And Paul is a pro. He comes in, he does his work, and Charles always does his work.
Yeah.
And I always say this because I feel like it needs to be said. I am just a local sports broadcaster. Okay. Those two guys are national guys, and they treat me with as much respect as they would anybody. And Charles is actually so much better to me than I could expect anyone to be. He is a big reason I'm as big a part of the broadcast as I am, because he insists that I be a bigger part of the broadcast because he knows I'm here and I'm watching it.
Yeah.
And so I'm always grateful for Charles, not just because I get to talk on the show more, but for the level of respect that I'm treated with. Because not everybody who does sideline or is a local broadcaster gets treated that way. Right. And so, I didn't know Charles before he came on. And Charles has always been great to me. I need to send him a text. I was disappointed to hear he was part of the cuts. I understand why, they're taking over NFL Network. They've got a crossover.
There's some redundancy.
Yeah, but I don't ever I don't ever agree with their choices.
I hate saying that about people because like it's people being impacted by this. You don't want to say that you're redundant, but it's like they do have overlap between ESPN and NFL Network.
I'm confident in saying Charles will be okay. He still has his Fox job.
He's on their like number one.
No, he's doing
college football team this year, right?
He's moving. I think he's doing the number one college football crew this year.
So he's still got lots that he's going to do, but obviously disappointing to see that yesterday.
Yes, because good guy who does his work, and I enjoy reading his stuff on NFL.com as well. And just look, I like it when good people succeed.
Yeah,
and I don't like it when good people get treated poorly.
No, 100%.
And so that's my long way of saying we've got the game.
Yeah,
I'll be there. The crew is there. They're knowledgeable. They put in hard work, and we'll do the best we can.
Yes, we are. First,
is that a Thursday game?
It's a Thursday game. Yeah,
I got to see what my travel situation is because
I would assume that you and TD would both not be able to make it that week.
Well, I'll be flying up. If the game's on Thursday, I'm flying up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when I've got my ticket. I can look it up right
When is the joint practice? Is it Tuesday, I would assume? Like the joint practice Tuesday, off day Wednesday, Thursday
that's the way it's going to be with all three of them.
Yeah.
Is they'll have their practice. And I think it's really interesting that they're doing just one joint practice with each team.
Yeah.
They're not doing two.
And I thought Saleh made a very good point when he talked about this, and we've discussed it, is the second day usually descends into chaos. It's like those guys in the heat have been around each other for hours on end, and it's like that's when you get the brawls. The brawls don't happen on day one. Mm-hmm. So Robert Saleh said, instead of doing two joint practices with two teams, we're going to do one joint practice with all three of the teams, and we're going to get more value out of that than we would doing 4 total practices when the second ones might not be quite as efficient.
Yeah, no, he's not wrong. I mean, I remember, last year when the Titans, not last year. Or it was last year when they went to Atlanta and had the 2 joint practices.
Yeah.
Gosh, did they get killed the first day.
Right.
I mean, they were awful. It was just a precursor to the season.
I remember.
They were so bad.
We had it was either you or TD called in that day or something like that. We're just like, it was not a good day for anybody out there.
No,
for the Titans.
they were all bad. They were all bad.
And
then the next day they came back and they kind of played into a stalemate the second day, but acted like they just conquered the world. Hey, we didn't suck so bad today.
Great.
Yeah.
Thumbs up to you guys.
But I've watched a lot of joint practices. That was the most lopsided joint practice I've seen since when the Rams came to town with Mike Martz and Mark Bulger.
Yeah.
And the Titans just kicked the crap out of them. And I remember the Rams media being like, oh, yeah, Rams did it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Your guys got obliterated today.
Yeah, I mean, you always...
They won like 3 games.
I think the media and the fans, you're always viewing it through your team's colored glasses. So it's
wasn't that day with the Falcons.
But like, I think there are some days where it's like, you can't spin this one.
There's no lipstick for that pig. All right? There's not a tube that big.
Titans will have 3 separate joint practices. And the first one will be in Santa Clara less than 3 weeks from now.
3 playoff teams. I mean,
yes.
They have 3 quality opponents.
Yeah, Super Bowl champions too.
And I know you're probably not going to see many of their starters, but they're 3 organizations.
You own the joint practices though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You're playing 3 coaching staffs that know what they're doing.
Right.
And so it's going to be great competition for your players. I think it's a very well constructed preseason. Now, I hate going to the West Coast.
Right.
I do not love that plane ride.
See, I'm wondering if that was the one that was supposed to be Carolina, because you remember Robert Saleh said there's going to be a joint practice with the Panthers, and the Panthers just didn't end up on the preseason schedule. I wonder if that fell through, and who's Robert Saleh's first call going to be when he has to fill one of those spots?
Yeah.
His former employer.
Maybe.
Like, that would be my guess. But
maybe that was the first one on the
right. That maybe he called them first and said, we want to do this. But I don't know. That I always think that's funny. It's like he said, oh, the Panthers are going to be one of them. Then the Panthers are just nowhere to be found.
It makes more sense.
Right. They're
much closer.
Right. It's an easy flight.
Yeah. I mean, like to me, the Falcons, the Panthers, these teams should be on the Titans preseason schedule like every year.
Yeah. I mean, even the Buccaneers, like that one's
Bears.
been on there a lot lately. Bears aren't bad.
Bengals, if you're not playing them in the regular season.
Right. Yeah.
Them
So
just think teams that are reasonably close to limit your travel.
Titans training camp starts up in just about a week. I don't know when the first
rookies
official
report tomorrow. Players report
tomorrow.
the 28th. Physicals and PT tests.
The Panthers and Cardinals veterans report today because they are in the Hall of Fame game. So
Cardinals and who?
Panthers. Yeah.
Cardinals might be the worst team in the league this year.
They are definitely in the conversation.
Look, I say that their skill position is
loaded.
Really good.
Yep.
If Jacoby Brissett can do, or do they have Jimmy G too?
They have Gardner Minshew too.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, watch Gardner Minshew just have like an electric Chad Powers season.
I mean, they got Jeremiah Love behind him. They got Trey McBride at tight end. They got Marvin Harrison Jr., who I know hasn't lived up to the
Wilson
draft
kid can play
Michael
too.
Wilson played really well last year. But yeah, the rest of that team is not ideal.
No.
The Dolphins, I think, are going to be the worst team in football.
They gutted things pretty hard.
They did. They've made some extensions here. They just extended their line. Jordan Brooks. They extended Aaron Brewer. So they've got
Aaron Brewer, second team All Pro.
Yes, he was. He was up for Protector of the Year.
Yes, he was. Finished 5th, I think.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll take your thoughts on our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com and finish up the second hour after this. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, finishing up the second hour on this Wednesday. We'll get back into some college football and a little more NFL talk coming up in the final hour of the show. But wrapping up on the Titans here, Cory, we were talking about things that the Titans need to improve upon, things that they can hang their hat on in 2026. Yep. And you did bring up Bones Fossil. I do think that special teams is like the one thing, which is crazy to say about a Titans team.
Yeah.
It's the one thing that I'm not worried about at all heading into the season.
I mean, look, before Mike Vrabel came along, the special teams were a strength of this team for a long time.
Yes, I guess that's true.
And
when
I'm not
you look back 10 years,
Mike Vrabel. Like, he had Brett Kern.
Right.
But he and John Robinson did not believe in investing in the kicking game at all. Okay.
Yeah.
And that showed up from time to time. Darius Jennings led the league in kickoff terms 1 year under Mike Vrabel.
Yes, he did.
But under Bones Fossil, we saw a monumental leap in the special teams. Now, Joey Sly's got to be better than he was last year.
Yeah.
He was asked to kick a ton of kicks over 50 yards. But I don't think those were necessarily his problem.
No, he's Joey Sly, since he was at Virginia Tech, has always been able to make the long ones. It's the ones inside 40 that make you sweat a little bit.
Yeah, and so he's got to be more consistent in there. But again, you're not going into the season with a question mark at that position.
Right.
Which is what we did for years here.
I mean,
when they had Brett Kern and Ryan Suckup,
right.
That was a good run. True. That was a good run in the kicking game.
I guess the way I was framing it more was, for years, it was like when the other team's punting, just praying you don't drop the football.
Like a Titans return man is, ever since Mark Mariani.
Yeah, and even like Mariani, Darius Raynaud, like there were some good guys in there for a while.
Mariani was a Pro Bowler.
Mariani was good. We always look back at Raynaud because he was the last one who had a punt return touchdown.
He also took a safety on the opening kickoff of the
He
season.
did against the Steelers. Yeah,
I was there for that one.
Yeah, that one just took one step out and one step back in, take a knee. But last year it went from worried that something horrible was going to happen every time the ball went in the air to, hey, they could score right here.
You thought every time a team punted to Chimere Dike, you knew there was a possibility that it was going to be 6 points.
Yep.
And that changes the game exponentially and makes the game much more exciting to watch.
Yes, it does.
And but again, and that's not the only reason the special teams were better.
No.
Everything about the special teams was better under Bones Fossil. And Tommy Townsend should be an upgrade at the punting position as well.
Johnny Hecker, yeah.
Johnny Hecker just kind of at the end of the line.
Right.
I think somebody picked him up.
Yeah, he is somewhere.
Which I was surprised he kept playing, because he's upwards of 40 now.
The Vikings,
yeah. But so it should be pretty good. I mean, because again, Bones, great coach, great leader. I was surprised he didn't get a stronger look as head coach.
Yeah,
really,
they did say he got an interview, right?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember,
but man, he's a good coach.
Yeah, that was the one thing the Titans last year in a 3-14 season. You're like, well, the special teams.
They were so bad. What was that guy's name? It was
back-to-back guys who had the same initials and were both horrible.
It was the guy who was his buddy at Cincinnati, who was like the assistant special teams coach, and it was horrible. It was horrible.
And the guy before that was horrible too, that Vrabel had to fire.
Oh, well, he's back. I think he's in Miami.
Yes, you're right. Well, so it was the Callahan guy who didn't know the rules, right? On the onside kick in Miami, where he's screaming and it was completely wrong. Let's see, man. Somebody's gonna text in here. But
Cole.
Colt
Anderson.
Colt Anderson. And Craig Ackerman was before that.
Craig Ackerman had infinitely more success than Colt Anderson.
They were both bad. So yeah, special teams, I think it's in a good spot. I mean, you look back at a few years ago where
I'm not worried about it.
Right. And that's
you say, what are you not worried about? I'm not worried about I'm not worried about defensive tackle and special teams.
There you go.
And you know what? I feel pretty good about middle linebacker too.
Yeah, off-ball linebacker. Honestly, wide receiver, I think you feel okay about. Obviously, you've got to see what Carnell Tate does when you put on the pads. But I think those are the positions you actually feel pretty solid about.
I like Cedric Gray a lot.
Yeah. I like Cedric Gray, and you like what Anthony Hill could become too. They said he's a prototypical Sala linebacker, so we will see. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We have one more hour left with you on this Wednesday. We'll bounce around a little bit. Some NFL, some college football. LeBron watch continues. NSC back on the pitch tonight. We'll get to all of it in the final hour. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, next man up. 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5, The Game, final hour on this Wednesday. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, Christian Skelton broadcasting from the Busy Bee, Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Going to get back into some college football later this hour. We're going to talk NFL here quickly, but we were talking about Colt Anderson. Trevor reminding us on the text line. I always forget this. Colt Anderson was part of the worst trick play in NFL history. That Colts-Patriots game from 2015, where they lined up 9 guys wide of the formation, and Colt Anderson was the guy under center with like 3 defensive tackles standing in front of him who took the snap and just got crushed. It is the AI on Google says it is widely viewed as the worst fake punt and trick play in NFL history.
Wow, that takes some.
So there you go. Colt Anderson, special teams genius as a player and a coach.
I believe that was a Sunday night game too on national TV.
It was, because that was like Andrew Luck versus Tom Brady. It was a big game.
Like I always go back to Liam Cohn had first year head coach, coordinators. I mean, he had first year everything, and it worked down in Jacksonville.
Yeah,
it did not work here,
right?
And because like he had just no experience on his coaching staff other than his dad.
Yeah.
Denard, Denard was impressive to talk to and everything, and I think he's going to be a really good quality coach. But still, you just didn't have the experience.
I think there's just such a wide range of outcomes when you go with inexperienced guys. Like maybe you did just find the next great defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator and special teams coordinator, but odds are some of those guys haven't been in those positions because they weren't ready for those positions.
Also don't know who else is on Liam Cohn's coaching staff.
Yeah.
To say if he's got guys like behind the scenes guys who help him out.
Is Tom Coughlin back helping out there?
Like last year they brought in Mike McCoy. And Mike, for the Titans. Now, obviously, Mike McCoy didn't do a lot the first 8 weeks because once he took over as head coach, he changed things pretty dramatically. It's like, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, there aren't a ton of names that I recognize because, you're right. Like, and both of the coordinators got head coaching looks this year. Udinsky for the offensive side, and then Campanelli on the defensive side. There aren't a ton of names behind them that I'm like, oh, maybe he's in his ear.
A lot of first-round picks on that defense.
Yeah, that is true. That is true, including Josh Allen, Hines Allen was the 7th pick, and then you got Trayvon Walker, the first overall pick on the edge. So
Armstead was over there too.
No, you're right. It's like when you go with the inexperienced guys, maybe you are finding
but you still
the next
need,
big thing.
If you're a first-year head coach, you need some people to lean on who aren't just your dad.
Right. Like Shane Waldron had some experience, right? Yeah, he was the offensive coordinator for the Bears, actually, in 24. He was the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. So, like, Shane Waldron had some experience. He's their assistant head coach and pass game coordinator.
Okay.
But, like, for the most part, it's a bunch of first-time guys. And it worked out. They went 13-4.
Yeah.
It did not work out for the Titans. Sticking with the NFL here, I'm sure you've seen the NFLPA and their push over the past few weeks about grass.
Yeah.
And I did see a graphic, it was either last night or 2 nights ago, I forget, where the Titans are tied for the most games on turf this year. They will play 15 of their 17 games on turf. Of course, turf at Nissan Stadium.
And then you've got 2 teams in your division with domes.
Yes, the Colts and Texans both play on turf. So there 10. You go. That's 10. Jaguars are on grass. So I guess those are the only 2 games they play on grass, unless the Jaguars.
Jaguars and who?
The Jaguars. Oh, sorry. You only play 1 game on the road. You play them twice. Yeah. Jaguars and let's see.
Well, let's see. Santa Clara will be on grass.
Right, but that's I don't think they're counting preseason.
No,
games.
I'm just saying. But that's that'd be 1 more on grass.
MetLife's not grass anymore, right?
No.
Lincoln Financial is grass. Eagles, right?
Not sure.
I want to say.
I think it is. Yeah, it is.
Eagles Stadium.
Yeah, it is.
I think it is.
It is.
But the NFLPA is pushing for it because, yes, it is a natural grass playing surface. So those are the 2, Jaguars and Eagles.
Okay.
I get it. These stadiums and the NFL have basically said, oh, well, we can't do it. It doesn't make sense financially. Sorry, we're not going to be able to do it. And then the World Cup calls and FIFA says, hey, we're going to need you to switch to grass for these 6 weeks. And they're like, as you wish, we got you. So I get it. The NFLPA is frustrated because you told us this wasn't possible and you're willing to bend over backwards when FIFA comes in and asks for grass fields.
Well, yeah, I get it. I mean, Mike Vrabel used to spout the data when they put in the turf at Nissan Stadium. Said 30% fewer injuries happen on this surface.
Right. The Titans turf isn't the typical turf. Like it's I forget the name they have for it, but it's a very specific type of turf that they put on that mimics a grass-like field.
Yeah, and I'm trying to. I mean, I remember the Quandre Diggs injury, his foot locked. But again, I don't know if that was because of the turf or not. The problem turf has is it can't give like the ground can give.
Right.
Like the ground can tear out from under your foot.
Yes, the turf won't do that.
No. And so if you lock, that's when you get into trouble. And look, if I was a player, I wouldn't want to play on turf either. All right. I wouldn't. So I get it. But I do think that a lot of the turf that's out there now is a lot safer than it used to be. And like, I know the Titans and the Bengals both switched to turf because they both just had an impossible time growing grass.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you'd get to the end of the season for the Titans and it looked ugly.
Well, I mean, because like you could go Bermuda and then, by the fall, the Bermuda's all dead.
Right.
And then, you try to put it, look, everybody who lives in Middle Tennessee, fescue 40 years ago might have been all right. It's hotter now. And that fescue takes a beating.
Yeah.
And so, you put the heat on it. You got TSU playing on it. You got the Titans playing on it. And the other thing is, you got so many events at Nissan Stadium. You're constantly moving stuff in and out on top of the grass.
Yeah.
So that was a problem as well. And so now, again, I'm not sitting here defending turf. I think the players, look, they don't want to be hurt. They make their money doing this.
That's the big thing is that they believe that there's more of those non-contact injuries when you're playing on turf.
I need to see the data.
Well, so here is the article from January of 2023 when the Titans announced that they were switching to the synthetic turf.
Yep.
Burke Nihill said, ultimately, there's just a limit to how much can be done for a natural grass surface in this part of the country. This turf is cutting edge and will be a huge improvement in terms of consistency and performance. This says that the Titans have led the NFL in each of the past 2 years. For most players used. I was looking for the right clip here. Here it is. The franchise also learned from the NFL that games at Nissan Stadium have had more lower body injuries than games at the league's stadiums with monofilament synthetic turf fields over the past few seasons.
So that's why they switched.
They switched because it was actually they were having more injuries because the fields would become slick towards the end of the year because they couldn't get the grass to actually grow.
Yeah, because it was Bermuda.
Right.
So it was brown.
It is the matrix helix turf. That was the term I was looking for.
Yeah, there's a lot of like rubber and coconut shell in it, and it's coconut shell and cork, I think. Yeah, and so like they water the field,
right? Because
they hydrate the shells in the cork.
Yes,
and so you see that stuff kicking up, and that's what gives way when you're running and you plant, and like you've got the blades of the turf, and then you've got all that in there, and it gives way as your foot goes underneath there.
So you can slip off of it easier.
Yes. And so the other thing is that turf is not as hot as some of the other turfs.
Yeah, no, that is true. I think that was another reason that they mentioned when they put it in.
I was, because like there were a couple preseason games where I was like, oh my God, this is going to be terrible. And it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not sitting here. Cory Curtis loves turf. I would love to see all NFL games played on grass. But I also have been here long enough to see how horrible the grass at Nissan Stadium has looked. And I'm not criticizing the ground crew because those guys know what they're doing. If it's not growing, it's just because it's hard. It's hard to play on it and, and keep it, in this temperate zone because we're kind of in between two.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like in Chicago, you got fescue.
Right.
Boom.
Easy. But yes, you're dealing with a lot of different conditions throughout the NFL season where it can be 100 degrees in August and then it's
30.
Yeah, in January.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. The Titans play the Eagles at home, so it's not the Eagles. They
Okay.
don't know there. It's the Raiders, actually, which I would not have guessed.
Oh, they
the
play
Raiders
on grass?
play on grass. They have
So they do it.
Kind of like the Cardinals, where they have the retractable grass that comes
Texans
out
used to
and then
do
they
that.
put it back in. That's what they have there.
The Texans used to do that, and then they just went to turf.
Yes. So it's half and half right now when it comes to grass versus turf. 15 stadiums use grass, 15 use turf. So
Interesting.
Anyway, I just thought that was the NFLPA is going to keep pushing for it. The NFL's not going to do it. Like they did it for FIFA, but it's.
But did the NFL do it for FIFA?
I think it was the stadiums did it for FIFA.
Okay. Well, how many teams own the stadium where they played?
Don't the Rams own SoFi, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So they did that.
But that guy's also a gajillionaire.
Yeah, that is true. I'm trying to think of
Kansas City.
Kansas City, that one was already grass.
Yeah. Foxborough.
Miami was already grass.
Foxborough grass.
New England is turf.
Yeah, so they had
to do it. So Robert Kraft, they own that stadium, right? Or no?
Yeah, I believe Robert Kraft built that.
Where else did they play? Seattle is
that's turf.
Seattle's turf. So they had to do that, and I doubt they own that stadium.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably 50-50 in terms of who owns it. But yeah, I mean,
who owns
the stadium? But I also get the NFLPA's gripe of you keep telling you this isn't possible, and then you bend over backwards to do it for somebody else.
Just about anything's possible with enough money.
Yeah,
it's are you willing to spend it?
Right, and maybe FIFA was footing the bill for all of this.
They might have been fitting with some of it with those $2,000 tickets.
Yeah,
who knows? Here's the other thing. Would the players be willing to take a little bit less?
Yeah,
if the money went into putting grass in some of these stadiums,
right?
Like if you say, "Hey, what do the players get? Like 51% or something like that?"
Yeah, something like that. In the CBA.
Hey, we'll knock you down to 50%, but we're going to put grass in these stadiums.
Right? Maybe that's
where the money's going to go.
Maybe that's a sticking point in the CBA moving forward.
I guarantee you, the players would say no.
Yeah,
they'll just stick with the turf and take their money.
Dustin from Hopkinsville says he's in the lawn care business. It's simple. You plant 3 grasses, one for hot weather, one for cool, one for winter. Now they're indoor. He says they don't know what they're doing. It's the only job they have. You maintain, you feed it all year. You come up with things to preserve the grass. You plant 3 grass types, one for each season. Trevor also makes a good point for against the NFLPA is the World Cup was in July, not December. And New York Doug says Bermuda grass dies at 55. Only thing that can be done is heat, irrigate, and drain entire surface underneath like a good golf course green.
Yeah. Then plant rye or whatever you want to do. Rye.
No, it's going to be a battle back and forth, and it's not like a CBA thing, but it could get included in the collective bargaining, which is up in 2030.
If it becomes a player, if they establish it as like a player safety issue,
right, it could get done without having to renegotiate.
But I'm going to tell you, the NFL is going to come with data,
right,
that says the turf isn't any more dangerous than the grass.
Right, just like in the Titans announcement, they're saying that they actually had more injuries on grass than turf surfaces.
Yeah, because their grass was terrible.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll take your thoughts on our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We got much more to get into here in the final 45 minutes of the show. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton with you. Got about 40 minutes left with you on this Wednesday. We'll bounce around a little bit towards the end of the show here. We talked SEC Media Days in the first hour. Tennessee went on Monday, Vanderbilt yesterday. Today, Alabama, Florida, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. That's it. It's an interesting group over there today. Florida, year one under John Sumrall, trying to get that program turned around.
It's amazing to me that program could struggle.
I know. With all the money that's available to them, and in that state, and
you can recruit Georgia as well.
Right, you're in a great footprint of the country, and I know Miami seems to be back. You know,
but Florida State's down.
Florida State's down, and for years, there hasn't been a time where Miami and Florida State have both been good at the same time. Where it's like, and you're in the SEC, they're still in the ACC. Like, Florida should be able to dominate down there. And maybe the question hasn't been lack of talent. Like DJ Lagway was a 5-star quarterback that they had in there. They've had talent. It's just been getting the most out of that talent that's been an issue. Yeah.
And so they're an interesting story going into the season. Texas is looked at as a national championship contender, but is Arch going to live up to the hype? Last year he did not. I know he was better at the end of the year than he was at the beginning, which is the way it should be.
Right.
But look, the expectations are for him to be the first pick of the draft.
Yeah.
So he's got to play at a really, really, really high level. Texas A&M could be a national championship contender.
Yeah. I think you need Marcel Reed to take a big step forward. He was good last year.
I don't know about a big step forward. He was electric last year.
No, he's really good. But you saw towards the end of the year, the Texas game and then the Miami game in the playoff. Like, they scored 7 points in that game against Miami.
Well, that Miami defense
was very good.
Salty.
And no, I understand. We saw them shut down Ohio State the next week too. But if A&M is going to get to where they want to be, he's got to be a Heisman contender.
Well, he was a Heisman contender. But, I mean, he needs to take. You're right. He needs to take another step. I don't think it's a big step.
Okay, yeah, maybe not a big step, but he needs to be a very high level quarterback in the SEC.
They look to have good coaching, and they will spend money to have the best players.
Yep,
there is no question about that. And then there's Alabama, which to me, and we have talked about Kalen DeBoer a lot, and that we both have a respect for him.
Yeah,
but both of us surprised that he got the extension that he did. But I guess if you're going to keep him, you've got to extend him. But I still think that's a hot seat for him.
With DeBoer, I think you can acknowledge two things at the same time.
Yeah.
One, that he is a very, very good football coach. He has been a winner everywhere he has gone. He played in coached in a national championship game 3 years ago at Washington. I think you also have to recognize that the expectations at Alabama are always going to be impossibly high, and you can't lose 4 games a year at Alabama.
No, and replacing someone like Nick Saban's really, really hard.
It's almost impossible.
And not just because I think we talked about this before, not just because of the expectations, but having the players that Nick Saban left behind listen to you like you're Nick Saban. Because you're not. No, no matter how good of a coach you are, you're not Nick Saban.
Right. They committed to play for Nick Saban. Whoever comes into the room next is not going to be.
You're just the guy holding Saban's clipboard.
Right.
And so, we saw them have like discipline problems and penalties and make mistakes that we're not used to seeing Alabama teams make. And I really wonder with NIL and transfer portal, as Kalen gets more of his players in there, and I hate to use that as an excuse because it's not, but I just wonder if there's less tune-out factor, and more tune-in factor, and you see a little bit different of a product. Because I know they were in the playoffs last year. I didn't think they should have been, and I know we fought about it. I didn't think they belonged in there.
Yeah.
And when they played in it, they showed they didn't belong in there.
They beat Oklahoma.
Did they?
Yeah.
And then they played Indiana.
They got crushed by Indiana.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and Oklahoma was a marginal one as well.
Yeah. No, Alabama was a tier 2 team last year.
Yeah. And so I guess that's why, are they going to be better? Not, yeah. I mean, if they're not better this year, well,
like last year when they lose to Florida State to start the season like that, and Florida State didn't end up being very good.
No,
that was almost disaster level for Kalen DeBoer, and he was able to spin out of it. They went on that long run throughout,
beat Vanderbilt.
Right, they beat Vanderbilt. They beat no, they lost to Oklahoma. That was their second loss.
Okay, so they revenged that.
Right, but they beat Tennessee. They went on a long run and got themselves back into the playoff conversation, and they ended up going to the SEC title game, and he gets the extension. But this year, like they've got to do, I agree with you, they've got to be better. And you look at this schedule, there's an opportunity to be better. You get Georgia at home, which I would probably pick Georgia in that game. They've got the experienced quarterback. Keelan Russell, I think, is going to be the starter for Alabama this year. 5-star recruit, but hasn't played yet. They do have to go to Knoxville, third Saturday in October. They've lost that game the last 2 times they've played in Neyland.
Right now, you'd probably pick Alabama, though? I would.
Yeah. I mean, I think having quarterback questions for both teams, with both their quarterbacks are going to be inexperienced, I'm going to take Alabama's roster over Tennessee's.
Yep.
Even though it is in Knoxville. You play A&M at home. You go to LSU. I mean, that 4-week stretch for them.
That could be a lot of losses.
They do have a bye week mixed in here, but Georgia at home, at Tennessee, A&M at home, at LSU, 4 games in a row, and then at Vanderbilt.
Look, don't take this the wrong way. They could play well and go 1-3.
Yeah. And
I mean, you could go toe to toe with all these guys, slug it out,
right,
and lose 24-23.
Right. They could lose. Let's say they lose Georgia at home, at Tennessee, at LSU.
I mean, yeah,
you're probably out of the playoff at that point.
Yeah.
And if you go a second straight year, or a second year out of 3 where you missed the playoff, and then last year you lay an egg in the SEC championship game and in the playoff against Indiana, I just.
What was the Indiana score, like 31-3?
Let's see.
It was terrible.
It wasn't close.
The problem is they didn't look like they belonged on the field with them.
Right. Well, and it was 38-3.
Yeah. They did not belong on the field.
They lost 28-7 in the SEC championship game, and it was a late garbage time touchdown, I want to say, to avoid the shutout. And then they lost 38-3 to Indiana in the Rose Bowl. I think for DeBoer, the expectations were always going to be impossibly high. That's why guys didn't want that job after Saban.
Yeah. Lanning
turned it down. I'm blanking on the other somebody else big. Marcus Freeman, I think, got called for
Sark.
it. Sark. Lane. I think Lane Kiffin even was like, I don't know if I want that. I bet they'd all be lining up to take it after DeBoer.
Yeah.
Because you want to be the guy after the next guy.
Sure.
And so it was always going to be impossible. But yeah, they're going to have to win 10 games and probably get to the college football playoff semifinals at the very least for Alabama fans to feel good about this season.
Yeah. And beat the teams you're supposed to beat handily.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who you play. There shouldn't be a game where you don't look like you belong on the field with them, which is what it was against Indiana.
You're Alabama.
Like Ohio State did not play well losing to Miami in the college football playoff.
Yep.
That Ohio State team had so many first round picks on it. For them to not be better in that game was disappointing. They did not play well, but they were still right there.
Yeah.
Still,
I mean, if it wasn't for the pick 6 early that kind of put Miami out in front, they easily could have won that game. Yeah, you lose 38-3.
Yeah, they got boat raced.
Yeah. So for Alabama this year, expectations are going to be sky high for Kalen DeBoer. Yeah. And I mean, again, he knows what he was getting into when he took the job. But
former Saluki offensive coordinator.
Yes.
Kalen DeBoer.
615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on SEC Media Days and much more. We got 2 more segments left in the show. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, next man up. 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton. Couple more segments left on this Wednesday. Tomorrow, it's a TD Thursday. We will have Teron Davenport in for the full show. Final TD Thursday pre-training camp. So excited for that. Hope you'll tune in with us. A couple of odds and ends here in the last few segments. I mentioned this to you during the break, Cory, that on LeBron Watch 2026, the Heat just sent a possible sign that they could be getting LeBron James to come back to South Beach, posting a scheduled introductory press conference for LeBron James for July 27th and then quickly deleting it. Maybe it was just to be safe, to have something ready, but I don't think you tell your social media manager to get that primed and ready unless you feel pretty good about it.
If they don't sign him, they look really bad.
Yep.
Really bad. Really bad.
Yeah.
So like after LeBron's done in Miami, does he go back and sign with the Lakers again just to make sure he plays for everybody twice?
Yeah, I guess so, right? That way, 3 teams, but 6 different stints for LeBron.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it was Pat Riley in the Giannis introductory press conference. I think it was last week. Where,
that's right. I played with Giannis.
They asked him about, adding around Giannis, and he said, we landed one plane. We're trying to land another right now. I assume he was referring to LeBron.
Yeah.
I don't know. If LeBron was going to go back somewhere, I would think it would be Cleveland. Like, just go do a third stint in Cleveland for a year. And I mean, his legacy has never been in one place, right? And like, obviously there are a lot of guys that you think of that went somewhere else at the end of their career. Even Michael Jordan came back and played for the Wizards at the end, but he's remembered as a Bull. Like obviously he's remembered as a Bull. With LeBron James, like, I think you remember him as a Cavalier. But
he's played for the Lakers longer than any other team, which Julian Minnesota, who I work with, is from LA. He's a big Lakers guy. And he was the one who told me that. In one stint, yes. And he's played for the Cavs longer together than he did with the Lakers. Sure about that? Pretty sure. I think he spent more time in a Laker uniform, but I could be wrong. He spent 8 years with the Lakers. Does that sound right? I don't know. It's way more than I thought. Because if you would have asked me, I would have said he spent 5 years in LA. So he spent 7 years with Cleveland to start. Then went 4 years in Miami. Okay. Then 4 more in Cleveland. Okay. And then 8 in LA. All right. So in one stint. This is the longest time he stayed with one team. Look, I agree with you. I consider him a Cavalier, but I think there are a lot of younger people who consider him a Laker. That is crazy to think of, but I think you're right, because I've seen these videos of going around to like these 12, 13-year-old kids. And it's like, who's Melo to you? And they say LaMelo Ball. And I'm like, are you serious? So like, I guess that's true. It's like some of these kids growing up don't know him as anything other than a Laker. Yeah. I mean, because it's been 8 years. So think about it if you were 15. Right. Yeah. Do you remember the Golden State Cleveland 4-peat? Yeah. So is there going to be a minimum 8-peat statement at the presser? So he's going to win another one when he's 50? I mean, does that make the Heat contenders if he goes there? I don't think so. It would be fun to watch him and Giannis playing together. I just, the thing is Giannis isn't like AD. He's a more ball dominant player. Yeah, that's AD. True. Look, neither one of them is going to play more than 65 games. Right. Look, it's 2 amazing players, 2 Hall of Fame players. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he's in his 40s. Right. And he's still, like last year, I mean, when you say like NBA player, he's still a great NBA player. Yes. But he's not going to be the bus driver anymore. But he's not getting younger. He's getting older. It's only going to get worse. And, he could still get a little worse this year and still be great. Don't get me wrong on that. No, I agree. He's still going to be a guy that puts up ridiculous numbers. The numbers have never been the issue for LeBron. It's the impact on a championship team, which he hasn't had in half a decade now. And we've seen the way teams are building now is with stronger overall roster. Yeah. Then it's the pendulum that goes back and forth. It's like everyone went to super teams for a while, and the way to combat that was being deeper than those super teams. And we've seen that take the lead over the last few years.
right now the Heat's roster, like let's just add LeBron to this. It's LeBron, Giannis, Bam Adebayo, and just a bunch of guys. Like I recognize
not a lot of guard play in there.
I recognize some names on here, but like nobody that like would scare. Like Andrew Wiggins is on this team, who he's getting up there in age. They've got Tim Hardaway Jr. They've got Bobby Portis, who was included in the Giannis trade.
That's a lot of forwards.
Right. Davion Mitchell, I remember him at Baylor. He's on this team. Trevor Keels from Duke. Trey Donaldson. Like, I recognize some names, but none of these guys, I'm like, oh, yeah, that guy's going to be the LeBron plays point guard, basically. So
he's going to have to.
Right. He's going to have to be the primary ball handler.
Hardaway, it's been a while since I've heard his name mentioned, but he's a pretty good three-point shooter, is he not?
Right. I mean, I guess he's your camp in the corner guy, drive and kick.
That's kind of what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Is who's going to be that guy?
Right. I mean, Wiggins could probably still be that guy.
Oh, Andrew Wiggins?
Andrew Wiggins is on that team.
Yeah, he's a 3.
Yeah. So
but LeBron's a 3.
I don't know if there's a place that LeBron can go, and I'm like, yep, that's a championship team right there. Unless he went to the Thunder or the Spurs,
already a championship
right? Which
team,
is already like he's not going to be that piece that moves the needle that much for me. Whether it's the Warriors or the Cavaliers or the Sixers. Honestly, if I had to pick a team that I think he has the best chance, I would go with the Sixers. The big contingency is, can Joel Embiid stay on the court? And obviously we don't know that. He hasn't played more than 40 games in 3 years.
Yeah, well, how many does LeBron play? 60? I mean, and he's not even hurt most of the time.
He played exactly 60 games this year.
Yeah, how many of those 22 that he missed was he hurt?
Yeah, he's played at least 55 games in each of the last 5 seasons.
Yeah.
But
again, that shouldn't be the metric. The metric should be like 75.
Like, if he goes to Philly, you've got Maxey, you've got Brown, you've got Embiid, you've got Edgecombe. Like, I do think that, and you're playing in the East, which is an easier conference.
What if he goes to Boston, plays with Tatum?
Yeah, I don't know. That I'd have to look at their team. I don't know. I think it's going to be the Heat based on that. Again, I don't think.
Oh, I think it's going to be the Heat. Yeah,
I don't think you put that YouTube link out unless there's at least something imminent happening.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, like, he can't play in Cleveland. You can't have Harden, LeBron, and Donovan Mitchell. There's only one ball.
There's only one ball, and also only so many seats to sit in your suit on the bench.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, those guys, those are all ball dominant players.
Yeah.
I mean, unless LeBron's prepared to be the 6th man, and you're going to bring him on when those other guys come off.
Yeah. I think it's going to be the Heat, and I think they'll be a playoff team with that, what they have, but I think they're going to be kind of what the Lakers have been the last few years. You get bounced in the first or second round.
I think, I think they'll look exactly like the Lakers. Like, there'll be some games like, whoa, that's really good.
Right.
And then there'll just be the rest of the time where it's like they play sporadically and they win some and they lose some. And Giannis has a calf strain and LeBron has a wrist strain.
Yeah.
And
right. Bam
Adebayo scored 60 in this one because neither LeBron or Giannis played.
Man, low night for Bam.
Yeah.
83-point scorer, Bam Adebayo. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We've got one more segment left on this Wednesday. We'll wrap up the show. After this, Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next Man Up 102.5, The Game. Wrapping up the show on this Wednesday. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Christian Skelton, TD with us tomorrow morning. Excited for that. Cory, want to get your thoughts on some soccer here.
Okay.
World Cup on Sunday. What are your thoughts on the final? Spain pretty dominant, just couldn't get the goal until extra time.
Yeah, it's, 1-0 surprised. I thought there'd be more goals on the board.
Yeah.
It's just interesting because we see this a lot in sports. It's about playing at the right time. Spain didn't play great at the beginning of the tournament, but they were the best team at the end, and they were the favorite going in.
Yep.
So, it was two great teams with great players, great story. Regardless how we got there, I know people argue this, that, and the other thing. It was a tremendous tournament, tremendous for America, tremendous for American soccer to be exposed to that. We can talk again about what it takes for America to compete on that level, because we're a long way away.
Yeah.
We have to majorly change some things if we're going to compete on that level. If you're going to tell me, hey, what's it going to look like in 4 years? It's probably going to look a lot like it looked this time. Because we have to make some major changes.
I do think the U.S. as fans, and I think most U.S. soccer fans, not all, most, they tune in every 4 years for the World Cup. I think you just got to keep your expectations reasonable. That if you get to the knockout rounds, if you get to the round of 16, that's about what it's going to look like for the U.S.
We were ranked 16th going in.
Right, and you made it to the round of 16.
Yeah.
And the U.S. lost to the only team that scored on the champs. Spain only gave up one goal. It was to Belgium. So there you go.
Cape Verde tied them.
Yeah.
So is Cape Verde better than Argentina?
Well, so
they played Argentina, didn't they?
And they took them to extra time.
Yeah.
So the only team that took both Spain and Argentina at a draw through 90 minutes was Cape Verde.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's
a movie.
I said before last weekend that they should have just given Cape Verde the third place award. Like, don't England, France, you guys just go back home. Cape Verde drew Spain and then took Argentina to extra time. They can be third place.
How can they be that good with 500,000 people and we can't compete at that level?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, do we have time? Can I go into this?
Go ahead.
Look, I listened to a guy on Twitter, and I don't know his name, but he mapped it all out, and he's 100% correct, and that's why I respout it. In Germany a few years ago, they finished like last in the European Cup tournament or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they were not happy about it. And so they spent like $50 million reinventing their youth program, where they built these like youth centers all over the country. And they hired people to be scouts and to find the best players and then plug them into these youth academies and develop them from the time that they're very, very young.
Yep.
We have to, as a country, decide we want, and I'm not talking about parents, because the parents are right now, we're the only ones flipping the bill on soccer. All right. My daughter's played club for 4 years. I spent a lot of money on soccer. Okay. And there's a lot of other parents that spend a lot of money on soccer. But we as a country have to decide we're willing to spend money on soccer and take the expense away from the individual parent, because not everyone can afford it. Right?
Yeah.
And so when you watch us play, it's not that our athletes are not as good. It's that we don't have the technical skill that these other teams have. You just see it. There was, in that last game against Belgium, there was a long ball to Alex Freeman, bounced off his foot, went out of bounds. Should have been a shot on goal, or at least a great cross and an opportunity. But it just bounced off his foot and out of bounds. Alex Freeman, dad played in the NFL. He's got great DNA.
Yep.
And he's wide open, and he's a great young player. But European player, Argentina player, they corral that ball, and it's a problem.
Yeah.
And so we need to, as a country, invest in building some geographical academies and have people who actually scout our young players and figure out who needs to go to these academies and pay for them to be developed there.
Yeah.
And is it going to cost $100 million, $200 million? Probably. But you know what? We just spent like $35 billion on some new missiles. We could drop a missile or two and pay for it. Okay. And so it's going to take, it's like I talk about Vanderbilt. You have to decide it's important.
Yeah.
Until we decide it's important, we're going to be 16th.
Well, and I also think you need young people to want to play soccer.
Jake, there are tons of young people who want to play soccer. Okay.
But the majority of young men specifically in this country, because I think young women, it is basketball, soccer, probably the main sports that they end up playing. But young men are going to gravitate to the sports that are cooler and more popular growing up. And soccer is not viewed as that.
Well, look, there's a lot of young men who play soccer. And do they get distracted and play other sports? Absolutely. That's why you got to grab them when they're 8 years old. When you see this kid's got something, and you plug him into the academy and you go. If you do that, you will develop that, and you challenge those skills and you teach those skills, and all of a sudden you have those technical skills that these other teams have. And so, you're saying, well, how long is it going to take? It's going to take at least 12 years.
Yeah, it's going to take
from the moment we decide to change. It's going to take at least 12 years.
Well, yeah, because the rest of the world has had this infrastructure set up for centuries at this point. Like that, soccer is all they know, and so that's the U.S. I agree with you. I think in general, you have to have expectations that if this is all that you're going to put into soccer, this is all you're going to get out of soccer.
If you're going to continue to put it on parents to flip the bill for everything, then you're not going to get all the best players, and you're not going to get the development that you need.
Yeah.
You're just not. You're just not, because there's a lot of kids, like you say, who will get distracted. Look, in Williamson County, there's a lot of families who pump their kids through soccer and they put them into club because they can afford it and everything. But there are a lot of counties in this state with talented athletes in it. They can't afford to put their kids in club soccer, and they never get the chance. But you could see a kid out at the YMCA and go, that kid's got ability. We might want to move him over.
Yeah.
And so you've got to have people who are paid to go around and watch kids soccer.
No, it's true.
And I know that sounds insane,
but
if we don't identify our talent and then cultivate it,
right,
because we're not.
That's what's happening everywhere else.
Right now, families are choosing who is good at soccer.
Yeah.
All right. The family decides, all right, I'm going to push my kid through, and they're going to keep playing.
Yep.
All right. Because the best athletes are not identified and then plucked and saying, okay, you're going to go do this if you want to go do this.
Yeah. No, it's true. It is true. And the U.S. came up short again in the World Cup this year.
We're not good enough, Jake. Right. We didn't come up short. We got as far as we deserve.
That's true. It's true. That does it for us today, Cory. Thanks for taking some time out of your staycation to be here.
Word!
We will talk to you next week. Getting closer to Titans training camp. TD Thursday tomorrow. Chasing Big Joe coming up next here on 102.5 The Game.